Hey, what's going on, everyone? It is David Palmer, Leo King, and Rich Lopp here for the Awakening Experience, the 10 of Wands. What's going on, Rich? Good to be with you, bro.
What's up, dude? Good to be with you. Have a good weekend?
Yeah, it was good. It was a little wild. I had couch fly on the freeway. I was on the freeway in a couch. It was cool. I mean, it's this 10 of Wands card, though, I felt like the 10 of Wands this weekend.
I was going to say that. Yeah, because me too. Because over the past couple of weeks, I know I talk a lot about like the transition I've been going through from going from Vegas to here and everything. And I've added another little ritual into my morning routine, and that is a 5-mile run Monday through Friday.
Dang.
So yeah, I've been feeling pretty 10 of Wandsy. So I think it's kind of going around, you got to. I mean, this can be a very positive card.
Yes.
Because I'm a really big believer, and it took forever for me to get myself into this mentality that you want to challenge yourself.
Yeah.
That's one of the biggest problems in society today, is that we have been so programmed to run for comfort.
Right.
And run for the easy way to do everything. Everybody wants to park as close to the building as they possibly can. And ever since the damn TV was invented, when the TV was first invented, the first thing they started using it to do is advertise shit to make life easier. And it was a plan. Decades and decades and decades of brainwashing you into running for comfort. Now we have a society full of soft little pussies, basically, And you want to challenge yourself.
No, it's true. I mean, honestly, it is a good card because I feel like it is, when I look at it, it's the card of like, well, there's that energy of where it's hard to do things and get the accomplishment. Mm-hmm. And it's that, it always reminds me if you're like on a long road trip and you're all excited, but then it's like, are we there yet? Are we there yet? And there's some people that just become like so irritated that you don't even want to deal with them in the car. It's like, relax. It's a couple more hours.
Yeah.
And I feel like there's just that people get that way in life. Like, you're almost there, keep going with the business. Nope, I'm just going to give up. I didn't see the results I want. Nope, the relationship that I really want, it's not possible because I've had this relationship and I've had this bad one and I've had this one. So I'm not going to. So to me, I look at it as like, there's so much, that last part of the lap of a track, or it reminds me of like anybody who does crazy bicycle racing or anything. It's like, the ones who pump at the end and keep going are the ones that win. I'm a jet ski racer, so trust me, the last 2 laps to the last lap is so fucking tiring. And trust me, as a jet ski racer, you'd think, oh, that's not hard. No, it's fucking hard as fuck. To keep your fucking at full throttle with the supercharger doing 84 miles an hour in every turn at 2.5 to 3 Gs on each turn. My arm pump, I can't even, the blood is coming out of my arms like crazy. I can't even move my hand anymore. But the only way to win is that determination to keep going. Although it's burdensome, there's the burden of like, that feeling where you're exhausted.
Yeah.
But this card teaches, I think, the other part of the spiritual like burnout, or when you overcommit to things too much, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, that's a slippery slope and a fine line that I have to break down and explain to my clients a lot, because one thing that I teach to my personal clients is, well, mainly my goal is to help people understand how to develop their own relationship with the universe.
Yeah.
So this is where it gets kind of slippery. Because I always use the doorway analogy.
Right.
Like you got to knock on the door and see if it opens. But I mean, at the same time, here we're humans on planet Earth. Everything requires work and effort.
Yeah.
So where do I draw the line between putting forth work and effort and fighting against the universe?
Yeah.
Like when the universe is saying, no, stop it, no. Like, how do I make that distinction? Like, do I keep putting forth effort, or is the universe telling me no? And learning how to.
That's a hard one sometimes.
Yeah.
But I think I think that is a better scenario than most scenarios in the world to be at that place. Do I keep going? Because the opposite is I have nothing. I'm not doing anything. I'm wondering what to do next. That's the worst place in the world to be. You're not doing that with this card. This card, at least, it's like, do I have to fucking shed something off my life right now at this moment because this is a lot. But I'd rather be in that place any day of the week. I mean, it is a positive card. There's the blue sky. It's not like where he's going is a bad place. It's not a tower. It's a nice, looks like a fucking nice villa. Mm-hmm. But, you know, it is the card that does also remind me of those that really do the hard. People think that the beautiful life looks easy.
Yeah.
And this is the card that what it really looks like to get there. Mm-hmm. And they say there's 1% of the world who even make it to this place. Well, guess what? 99% of people don't want to do this.
It's because they don't understand that that's the point. Yeah. This is what drives me so nuts. and I feel like I have this, it's like this fire that burns in me, that like what fuels everything I do, like what I'm doing right now,
right.
Every time I turn the camera on, to make people understand the goal is not ease and comfort. I think I put a video on Instagram the other day where like the way we're conditioned to think, if you think about the system that we were born into and brought up in, like most people wake up every day and they force themselves to go do something that they hate because somebody else is telling them that they have to, because they have to have this little bitty bullshit amount of money to just barely be able to survive. And the only thing that they're looking forward to is that day off where they don't have to do anything. And over years and years and years and years and years of this, that conditions the mind to think, well, the only thing I've been looking forward to is a day where I can do nothing.
Right.
So I guess the goal must be to make enough money so that I can do nothing. Because if I had enough money, I wouldn't be having to make myself do this every day. So it structures the brain to think that if you have enough money, you get to do nothing. So they look at these big, hyper-successful people and they think, oh, he must have it so easy. Right. Oh, look at him. I bet you his life is just like one big, long vacation. And it's like, oh, no. Oh, no. That dude is under so much more stress and pressure than you could even wrap your mind around. But the difference is the way he thinks about it. The successful people have learned to lean into this energy intentionally, because you know the longer you stay in this energy willingly, the better that you're getting. The more your brain wires itself to be able to think straight under stress.
Yeah,
you know?
That's true. Because I think really, when you look at this card, it's got an energy where it's like, that doesn't look like he's too comfortable. That ease and comfort thing is so what happens? A day off. But even if you think about it, when you're in a place like this, all these wands, you think, well, you have enough money, you could just pay for that to be done for you. It's like, no, the quality of life is when you do it yourself. Like, right? It's like, people are like, oh, you must pay people to build the cameras or build the sets. Like, I built this set with my fucking 2 hands, like with my brother, like, you know, like using resources that are abundantly available and bringing them all together. That's how I look at this card too. Even though it's the fire of that, it's not the physical resources, it's the energy in which you're like, you know what? I'm going to make this shit happen. It might seem like this is a lot to fucking do, especially when you or me or any of us sat there with a fucking webcam and we're like, oh, yeah, I'm going to build all this shit. It's like, okay. And it's the determination, it's the long determination that is constant. It's the constant, you know, you have to be consistent. I just saw Gary Vee just put out I put up the story like 2 days ago where he's just like, you're going to change the fucking world with one fucking piece of content a week?
I saw
and
that.
I fucking was like, boom, that's it right there. That motherfucker just called that person out. She's like, but I want to change the world. He's like, one fucking piece of content a week, you're going to change the world? He fucking just gave it to her. I was like, fuck yeah.
Yeah, I saw that. And I think, too, if you think about it, I think we fixed signs are at a bit of an advantage with that energy, because it's so easy. Everybody wants to give up, you know? And people ask me, as a matter of fact, I had a client in a Zoom call reading just the other day who was at this point where she knew that it was time to expand and do something new. And I had to explain to her, it's like, you have to give yourself permission to flip a switch. Like if you're down at rock bottom and you look up at that mountain, you know it's going to be a bitch to climb. But there's this I don't really know how to explain it, but there's this switch that flips where it's like, okay, well, you know what? I'm climbing this fucking mountain, period. You're either one day going to see me waving from the top, or you're going to see me dead on the side, because I'm not staying here.
Right.
I don't care what it takes. I don't care how scary it is. I don't care what risk I'm taking. I don't give a fuck. My desire to climb that mountain outweighs any fear or discomfort.
Right.
You know, and how to flip that switch and give yourself permission. And I think from what I've seen, we fixed signs tend to be able to harness that a little bit.
Yeah, because it reminds me of other cards like the Three of Cups. Like it's fun to do social things in life. It's fun to be around people and do that. And I think you have to balance those kind of things in life. But it always reminds me of like, you know, those stories are good memories, but they don't go anywhere as far as like the Ten of Wands is like, while you were out just doing nothing, I was doing this, I was doing this, I was doing this, I was doing these 10 things at once. Mm-hmm. Like, it's about passion to me, because I feel like, you know, it's not just about one thing. It's about how all of it connects. It's like, well, if I'm doing this, I'm doing that, I'm doing this, and I'm doing that, and I'm doing this, and I'm getting my social time while I'm doing all, and that energy of, it might feel like a burden. And sometimes there's moments where you're just like, fuck. But it never lasts more than that moment of like, God, I just need to take a second break. And then boom, there's something like you said, it's a switch. It's a passion to me. It's just like, you're not using your mind. That's what it is. Because it's like pain, right? This also card reminds me of people who are like, but you know, I've already been carrying like 7 groceries right now up to the top of the stairs. It's like, yeah, do you want to walk 7 times down, or do you want to walk once? You know, so there is like a think smarter, not harder.
Yeah.
Sometimes, of course, it could strain. I've had a hernia before in my life. That shit sucked. But I also was in the military fucking rescue swimming school. Like, it's not like, you know, 5-gallon water jugs above my head.
Yeah.
Doing lunges in the fucking, on the beach at fucking 4 a.m. Like, you know, that was just my 4 a.m. moment. Like, that wasn't the whole day being dunked in a dunk tank. But there's something about, like, why would you do that? It's like, there's a purpose, too. There's a purpose. He's not just walking anywhere. He's walking to where he's building these wander to his beautiful, happiest place. I mean, you can't put it as a physical because it's a wand. It's like his passion, no matter what it is. If it's a house, if it's a barn, if it's a fucking apartment, it don't matter what the fuck it is. It's the passion he's bringing all those things to that he went and collected and he brought it to. Because that 9 of Wands before, he's so, he's got his defenses on. It's like he's unsure of if he should keep going or not. People think that it's this card. I was always like, no, this is what gets you to the fucking next level, to get to that fucking page, to get to the fucking court cards. You've got to be able, the court doesn't respect you unless you've done this.
Yeah.
You know?
And to be able to, that's the thing.
Yeah.
Like, most people who have followed me for many years, well, you can probably look back and see that okay, I'm not going to lie, I bought into the hype too. I thought my number one goal is to start a 6-figure business so I can kick my feet back and do nothing. Dude, within 3 months, I gained 60 pounds. I was sitting around getting no physical activity, drinking beer, eating all my favorite brownies and cookies and pizza, and boom, boom, boom. I got fat real quick.
Sea urchins. Yeah. I saw that video.
Yeah. And then I finally remember the day that the switch flipped, and I was like, well, if I'm going to live this life of success, you're not successful if you're not healthy. So I'm going to have to start going to the gym. And I had never thought about physical activity the way that I had to adapt my way of thinking to where it's not just carrying the wands. It's the ability to carry the wands.
Yeah.
You know, like back when I first started in 2020, you could have offered me $20 million to run a mile, and I couldn't do it. I could not run a mile. That's how out of shape I was. So then I got to the point to where I was like, you know what? I want to be able to run 5 miles. Just to be able to do it, to write that into my brain, just to be able to do this, to be able to carry those wands means that once he's gotten to this point, life isn't easier. He got better. He got stronger. His mind can think straight during stress. That took me 2 years of working out so hard. You know, when you work out so hard,
I know
that alarm bell goes off in your brain, and it's the fight or flight response. It's like, oh, I got to quit. I got to quit. How do I keep pushing while that alarm is going off? And doing that every single day for 2-3 years, now I can run 5 miles every morning.
I was going to say, it gets you to a place where there is no alarm anymore. The alarm is, why am I not moving and doing something?
Mm-hmm.
Because that's, I think, the problem, is that because it becomes... I love social times, but they're chosen. They're chosen for a purpose too. Everything in life has a spiritual purpose, because if you're just gonna do things just to do it, it doesn't have that spark. Things look good. People get sold now by something that looks good, and it doesn't draw. There's a drawing in. If you feel like if he's leaning in, something's pulling him.
Mm-hmm.
The frequency's pulling him in a right direction to something great. Especially, we know the wands. Geez, probably one of the best lineups of all the tarot. You know?
Yeah.
And it's not, and you know, it's funny because in love readings, this card always looks like, feels like there's a lot going on. And relationships can be the same way, where it feels like, man. But you have to take a look back when you're in relationships, like, we just did this, we just did this, we just built that, we're making this, we're doing this. That's not a bad thing, you know? But sometimes it could be like, you know, I could see how it could be a frustrating card. Like, maybe the other person's got a lot of weight, so they're not calling you back as much. Mm-hmm. That's my biggest gripe, is when people are like, oh my God, you didn't call me back. I'm like, I was doing this, and I got back to you. But a lot of people are just sitting around and waiting. And this is the card of like, while you were waiting, everybody else, or that person or you were not waiting.
They're waiting on the Ace of Swords. You know, that I thought about picking the Ace of Swords today, but like, that's what they're waiting on. They're waiting on the Ace of Swords moment.
Yeah.
You know how many people, like, I'll get that in my comments section. I'm waiting on the right moment. I know I need to change my life and transform my life into something, you know, that is unlike anything I've ever experienced or anything I ever thought possible. I'm waiting for the right moment. I'm like, that ain't coming. That is not coming. What makes you think you're going to recognize the right moment to do something that is so unlike anything you've ever done before? That right moment ain't coming. You got to pick up the bundle of fucking wands and make that right moment. And yeah, you'll probably fall on your ass a few times. Yeah. Get up, pick the wands back up, get back up. You'll probably fall again, get back up. It's like the journey that it takes to really be able to carry the wands all that way. This dude probably fell and picked these damn wands up so many times, but he gets stronger. He gets better the whole way through, you know?
Yeah, because I do feel like that 9 of wands before it, he's sitting there like pensive, but also afraid. Like he's got a fear. Something happened. It's like the 8 of wands before. It's like everybody's like, oh yeah, okay, you're going towards it, but it's what you do with it. So universe brings you so many amazing things, but there's a lot of that energy where it's like when you see it and you determine whether it's worth the journey to get you there or not. Lots of things come in life, but a lot of people I feel right now in the world have missed that boat now completely, where it's like they don't see anything coming in, because nothing's going to come in if you ain't willing to. The universe, any frequency is not going to provide a path for you. I always love the expression, like, God will never give you anything you can't handle.
Mm-hmm.
That's this card to me. Like, if you really, everybody's like, yeah, but this card, you're stressed, or you're working too hard, or you're doing too much. It's like, what? It's like the universe. You say this in every other place, but when it comes to work, or when it comes to doing your passion or doing what you really want, that internal, it's about your spiritual engine. Mm-hmm. Does that thing have fucking horsepower? Or is it fucking, are you on a unicycle spinning around like, I don't know where to fucking go? because that's another part of this card is it knows exactly where it's going. It's not like it's questioning, should I go over here or should I go over there? No, like whenever you've got a lot on your plate, you're drawn into where to go exactly, and there's not even a question. And you know, people like trying to make fun of people like, did you see that person? They were walking down the street and they were so determined. You can just see somebody just, boom, they know where they're going. But you know, when people are just like, you know, it kind of reminds me of like Pulp Fiction. That's when John Travolta's just sitting there and there's that meme of him just kind of like, it's like he never knew where he was going either. And that's when you end up in weird situations. Because if you don't always have some sort of determination, and you know what? The more you have on your plate, the better. That means there's more to do. I know it deals with some difficulties, and it can feel like a burden, and it can feel like when any situation comes up in life, I always, especially being in racing or always being outside or towing trucks and with fucking big trailers and fucking jet skis falling or whatever, I'm in the studio and always having to fix something. I never look at something like, oh my God, it's over. It's more like, this is gonna suck, but I'm gonna just face it. Mm-hmm. So this is also the card to me of like, I'm gonna face this shit.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, because that suck that you were just talking about, because I'm one of those types of people that I think I came here to experience both ends of the spectrum.
Yeah.
So I've experienced that end of the spectrum where, you know, because people will look at a daunting task and think, oh my God, how am I going to get through that? Well, I'm here to tell you, you don't want to just sit on your ass and do nothing. Because you know what happens? You make it to the top of that mountain and you sit there and chill. You're going to start sliding down. You're getting worse. So like breaking people out of the illusion that comfort and that light and that happiness, like here on planet Earth, that's not what we came here to do.
Right.
We came here to grow and evolve. How do you grow and evolve? Under stress and pressure. Now, either A, you learn how to do it willingly, or B, the universe is going to throw it at you.
Yeah.
Take your pick. This is duality. And I think we talked about that in another episode where people will say things like, why is it that every time things are going so good, all of a sudden everything gets taken away from me? And I'm like, it's because you're not balancing your energies out. You're trying to run away from the negative.
Right.
You're trying to run away from the darkness and run straight towards the light and the ease and the comfort. This is a dualistic dimension. It has to balance out. So if you run straight towards and engulf yourself in nothing but light, happiness, and comfort, well, that discomfort, that stress, and that pressure has to balance out. So the universe is going to throw it at you. So that's why it behooves you to learn how to lean into this and harness this energy from time to time, you know?
Yeah, I think that's the best point you make because I think piggybacks off of the maintenance we've talked about that in manifesting. That this is the best card of that maintenance. Like people go, why don't you just hire somebody to wash all your cars? I'm like, you don't get it. Number one, they won't do it as good. Number two, the energy I put into when you take care of your shit, and it seems like people don't understand, like, why are you going to go to your shop right now? And I'm like, that shit will go bad if I don't change oil. If I don't do all that shit, it can feel like a burden, but it's like fucking the generator has to be started on the RV every month. People don't think, again, I think it's the perfect example you gave. Just like, I'm just going to get a bunch of money and kick up on my butt and just do nothing. Mm-hmm. Yeah, right. Like I was just thinking actually today when I got out of the shower, I was just like, man, I was thinking of the athletes that they make their millions of dollars and they buy like a Bentley or whatever. And then I'm like, oh, a couple of years down the road and they stop playing and that. And it's like, and then you see them, they keep that one car because that's all they got. And it's like, oh shit, I got to buy that $20,000 fucking Bentley alternator right now. Fuck. You know, like, okay, that's really what it is. And even though it's a burden, like that's the other thing. People, this is the card of where you see people that, I trust people when this card comes up because I'm like, well, at least they're fucking willing to do the whole fucking thing. They ain't gonna cheap it out. And that's the hardest part. Like, I'm just gonna find the cheaper route. I'm gonna find the easier route. You're gonna just get to the shittier frequency version. I mean, you're not gonna get the full clarity if you think of the frequency of like, it's gonna be like static. You know, because this card, there's no static. It's like tuned in. And I feel like maintenance, like people keep asking about, how do I maintain it all? Well, it's all the things that comes with the beautiful thing that you're manifesting.
Don't fall into comfort.
Yeah.
Like I guarantee you ask anybody, name one person that has it easy. The first thing they're going to do is name somebody with a bunch of money.
I know.
I promise you that person don't have it easy. We have this illusion in our mind. And I'm telling you, it's an illusion. It's not true. There is no human being on this planet that just has an easy life where they don't do anything. Everybody has some kind of challenge. Everybody has some kind of struggle. And again, man, I believe very, very wholeheartedly that was programmed into our minds on purpose. You work all these hours and then you'll get to take a vacation. And then vacations and days off and retirement. We have that as the pinnacle of life in our mind, when it's like that was never the point of this life to begin with. Check this out. The first time I heard this, I was working, I think I may have told you this. I was working this job, a really heavy manual labor job. And I was taking a cigarette break, and this old guy was sitting next to me. He must have been 65. And I don't even know how this old dude was doing this. This was such a hard job. And he goes, I don't have to do this. And I'm like, what do you mean? And he goes, I retired as CEO of Philip Morris. And I was like, what? CEO of Philip Morris, and you're out here doing this? And he says, trust me, you have to have a reason to get out of bed in the morning. You have to have a sense of purpose. You have to keep going. And I didn't really believe him at the time, but I started paying attention. How many people retire and then go get a job somewhere or something? You don't want to sit around and do nothing. That is a false fucking pipe dream that's stuck in our heads that, over enough years and enough decades will soften you up, make you weak, and then now all you got to do is go plow the people over and you can take over the world.
I mean, that's why every Walmart greeter's a nicer person than another retiree just sitting there with no real reason to get up after drinking too many Mai Tais and listening to Jimmy Buffett.
Yeah.
I feel like that's the whole purpose, because if I look at life and it's like, it's a commitment to life. Whatever it might be, it's going to change. But if you're constantly showing up to do the best that you can for whatever you want. And I think that this is a hard card for people who have identity issues with who they are, right? Because it's like, you can't even know what the fuck is a burden if you don't know what you are. The biggest burden is you not even knowing who you are. Like that is the biggest, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to get up for. It's like, look in the mirror. That's the first place you haven't figured out first. You know what I mean? And that's the problem with today's culture. And this guy's the ego guy now, because they're not seeing this. Mm-hmm. And that's the problem with social media today, right? Because they see the end product of something.
Yeah.
Or they see some part of it, but they're not seeing all the behind the scenes. This is the behind the scenes. He could be, I love this card because there's no real understanding of, why is he could be having a fucking wedding because of the wands, the wedding. This could be where the wedding's at, and this is him taking all the chairs and all the things down, then bringing it back to his property that he did for his daughter. People just don't see the fucking real results that come out of life by the behind the scenes of what it takes. But if you can't determine what to do in your life, it is identity issues every single time. And broken identity, not secure in your identity, and not even secure in yourself. You have to be secure in yourself to trust your body, to trust your heart, to trust your mind, to trust your instinct, to trust your hands, to trust that you don't even question. Do I pick up all this stuff and go? You just do it. Mm-hmm. And that's, I'll be honest, I love just knowing people who, they're not on those, I'm going to call them silly questions, because they're really so silly, because we're in a world now that, you know what? If social media has fucked you up, get the fuck off of it then. Mm-hmm. Shut the fuck up, look in the mirror and figure your life out. Mm-hmm. Stop going, do I find it by trying to be like this person and copy their identity? Or the worst is when somebody has no identity and they start to go into shame, guilt. It's like, well, at least fucking go take a walk. Reflect on who you are, what you used to love. I think that's the hard part about this card. It's an X factor. It's the new Roman numeral 10.
Yeah.
It's the X factor in life. When it comes to your passions, this is there. I guarantee you your best life, you're going to meet this card. You're not going to, and this is the factor that makes it to where you get to a King of Wands, a Queen of Wands, to the Knight of Wands, an adventure of your life. You're not going to have it by being like, no, I don't want to take on much more than just. Most people, when they say I don't want to take much on, they haven't even taken on themselves.
Well, that's what I was going to say, because you brought up a good point there with having identity problems. You can end up like this with an identity issue, but the problem is each one of these wands is some bullshit you shouldn't be carrying. You know, that's one thing that comes out, like especially if I'm giving advice in a reading and this comes out in the reverse, I'll say, don't take on a burden that's not yours to take on unless one of two things. A, you're in the position to do it, and B, you hold no expectations. Do you know how many people? I guarantee you, I could pick up my phone and scroll Facebook right now. Within 5 minutes, I would see somebody bitching about their expectations not being met. Somebody posted the other day on Facebook. It said, it was a little meme that said something to the effect of, if I let you over in traffic, I'd better get my wave. Oh, that's my biggest pet peeve, when I let somebody over and they don't thank me. It's like, well, that's your fucking problem right there. You know, like most people, they're not doing things out of pure, genuine, unconditional love. They're doing things with expectations. Like, oh, all the things I did for you and this and that. Let me tell you something about me. I refuse to loan people money. I will not. If I hand you money, it's yours.
Right.
Keep it. I don't want it back. I don't like that energy.
Right.
Of, oh, you're going to give me that money you owe me? I hate that energy. I just don't like it. So if I hand you $100, it's yours. Keep it.
Right.
I don't want it back. I don't want that energy between us of you owe me this. You know, I don't like that. And if I give you money, that's just who I fucking am.
Right.
If I help you with something, that's just who I am. You don't have to pay me back. I don't give a shit. You know?
Right.
And so many people take on all these burdens that aren't theirs to take on, usually with an ulterior motive. Again, because they have an identity issue. They don't know who they are. So they're worried about what other people think about them, what they think they deserve, and all this bullshit, you know?
I was going to say, if you're somebody on this path and you're doing a bunch of shit, don't let the camel that breaks that fucking back of your life be when somebody isn't seeing you doing it. Like, that's the hardest part in life, is when you're doing everything, you're literally sweating, making shit happen, taking on, which some people call burdens, I call the responsibilities that take you to the next level. Like, you know what I mean? Like, people will have zero comprehension at all about what it takes to get to a high level in life. And they'll just sit there and not see it. You can't let that get you, because they're not there. You know, it's like, I always laugh when I always see somebody, like, I could see like a skier fucking on like the Olympics doing triple backflips and all this shit, and just see some, like, they'll scan on the crowd and see some drunk guy, like, oh, that guy fucking sucks. Right? Same thing when I go to a baseball game, you know, I'd be like, that fucking guy just fucking can't hit. He's fucking. Do you realize, okay, every fucking guy strikes out. Every single guy strikes out. There's no such thing as a batter that's never struck out in a season. It's like, you just watch that. Do you realize the level at which that guy is? That guy can crack a fucking baseball fucking 480 feet fucking at a velocity of 108 to 110 miles an hour and hit the ball at 100 miles an hour. And you're fucking sitting there and you fucking can't even hit a ping pong ball into a fucking cup. Like, that's the, like, you, like that, this card though, that's hard. He's not, I feel kind of bad for this guy though, always in this one, because it's like, man, that guy's fucking doing it. And I feel more bad in this world with this guy, because I'm like, there's very few people that are doing it and everybody fucking around.
Yeah.
You know, like, oh my God. Like, and it's like, do you see what has happened? And it's really about, you know, appreciation. Like most people don't have appreciation for what people do to get to even give somebody money because don't worry about it. It's all good. It's like expectations on every level now of what people should do without being like, look at mothers today. It's like people will just forget their mom or dad or somebody who's working or somebody who just lost someone or something, whatever, and just be like, fuck you. You need to be doing this right now. I'm like, wow. That's what we've come into this world. And I believe a lot of it has been literally set up this way now. 100%. Like people are so afraid of the WEF and so afraid of like, you're going to own nothing and you'll love it. That's because you're going to choose that. That's not because some group's going to do it. That's because they are programming people to be that way and how you are acting to this person and not being this person at the same time.
That's what the war on masculinity is all about.
100%.
That's what, they got all these men out there who are too afraid to do this shit. And not only that, but when they see a man doing this, they're being shamed.
Yeah.
They're toxic. See, like when it comes to the whole masculine feminine thing, for the past probably 50, 60 years, probably more, the world has been run by the toxic masculine because masculine and feminine energy is chaos. Masculine energy is order.
Right.
So we've been run by the toxic masculine, like Nazi Germany, and that energy is the toxic masculine.
Fauci.
Now they're brainwashing people into believing that the solution to toxic masculine is toxic feminine. So like you're just flipping to the other end of the energetic spectrum.
Right.
And nobody's actually thinking, well, what do we do to awaken divine masculine and divine feminine? And I think this is one of the most clear indications of divine masculine energy.
Right.
This is the goal. This is the dude you want to be. But you want to be able to have your priorities in order. Yeah. There has to be a reason. Like, I don't think he's just carrying these sticks for no reason.
Right.
Like, he has a goal in mind. Like, he knows where he's going. He knows what he wants. And he's willing to do anything that it takes to get there. That's what they don't want. They don't want a society full of people who know what they want and are strong enough and determined enough to do whatever it takes to get it because they can't take over.
No, exactly. That's why you look at big corporations now, right? And you don't see enough small businesses and small stores and stuff, because people just like gave up and we just want to go to one place and they have it all. But then there's no love there. It's not like anybody in the fishing section at Walmart fucking cares about fishing. You know what I mean? But it's like the same thing is, when you're in this energy, you don't even have the mind. You can't even be in a place to have a Seven of Swords thought. Yeah. To do something shady or anything. So it's funny whenever you get accused of doing shit or whatever, when you're sweating, moving shit around, doing shit. It's like, what? When your fucking blood's pumping and you've at least done 10,000 steps, the last thing you're thinking about is doing a Seven of Swords thing. And that's what's been the biggest trigger in my life. When I get accused of shit, I'm like, do you even realize I don't even know what the fuck you're even coming from right now? I'm fucking in the middle of a million things right now. The last thing I'm thinking about is your fucking crazy idea. Like, while you're not doing anything. That's the worst. You're not doing anything. That happens so much. It fucking is the most frustrating thing on the planet. And to be it is, that's what's happened to men now, especially. It's like, guys are fucking grinding hard. And then they get accused of being the narcissist or being a gaslighter. It's like, we don't even have time to gaslight. We don't even have time to do that shit. Let alone even know fucking what the fuck it's beyond me now. We've become so fucked up in this culture because of this. Because you can't. I always say this whenever I race. I tell everybody on my team and everybody around if they come to see me, for the first 30 minutes when I got off the jet ski, do not talk to me. Don't ask me, hey, when are you going to do this or that? Because I am so overloaded with fucking how much I've just done that I can't even think. I just have to sit down in the air conditioning and eat a sandwich or eat something, and I'll get my brain back in fucking 30 minutes. Mm-hmm. Same thing if I get off the stage. I go, do not fucking get personal about personal things or anything because I can't even be in that space with you. I had to set that as a boundary years ago because people would just fucking get, in my personal life, would just get bigger in it. Blah, blah, blah. I'm like, I have no idea what the fuck you're going through, but it's not my fucking situation at the moment. I need a fucking 30 minutes because I've been doing this to just fucking relax for a second. The worst is when you're in the middle of doing something and now somebody's problem is your problem. That's the fucking burden, not this. That's the burden that's what you're going to see in this matrix shit that has woken up in the world now. Who's putting a burden on you when you're already not in a burden, when you're already taking on everything in the fucking world and they're not taking on shit?
Well,
that's it. That's
another part of that too. I mean, there's a lot of different dynamics behind why something like that happens, but a lot of it too, you got to think. People out there, I think deep down at the deepest level know that this is what they need to do. So like I had a client come to me the other day for a reading who said, why are my mom and my brother not supportive of my recent success? And I'm like, because you're shining a big spotlight on what they should do.
Right.
People don't want to see you better than them.
I know.
Because that makes them have to rethink their whole life. Because we live our life by these excuses. We always have a finger to point and somebody to blame. Oh, I'm not this far in life because of this. I was born into poverty. I was beat as a child. My father always told me I was worthless and this and that, and blah, blah, blah. So they use that to justify the level they stay on in their life. And then especially when you have it worse than them and you start doing better than them, that shines a big spotlight on the fact that your excuses are bullshit and it pisses them off. So they're going to do everything they can to try to cut you down. Going to try to call you names, accuse you of shit, spread rumors about you. And really what it is, especially if you're a light worker and you're shining a big spotlight on the darkness, the shit they're trying to hide from in the dark, they're trying to hide behind their excuses. And it's like, no, yeah, I started off worse than you and look where I am today. Right. They don't like that.
No, because I love that you bring up the light work. That's all the light work is shining a light for people without literally like doing it or calling them out by just living an example. That's it. But you're right. It triggers people because then it makes them feel. And then the worst is they don't realize they want to jump to this place immediately. When this card is not a card where you just go from, I'm changing my life today and I'm going to be right here. It's a slow growth card to get to this place. And it takes years. It takes years. It takes years. It doesn't take months. It doesn't take, and you know what? I'll give it, you can take days, months, but that's still just the beginning of like, all right, Ace of Wands.
Yeah, it's a transformation process.
Exactly.
Yeah, and it takes a certain mentality. Like, for example, perfect example. When I first connected with you, like I said, I didn't know anything about you. But I come here and I'm looking around here and I'm like, dude, this fucking guy is on the level I'm trying to get at. Now, most people with a failures mentality would have probably ran away from that, talking shit about you, you know?
There's been a lot of that.
Yeah, and no, because they're intimidated. I'm not fucking intimidated. This fucking inspires the hell out of me. I want to get to know you better. I want to learn how you think. I want to get on that level. And it's hard. Like I was saying last week, a lot of these things I've been doing here lately have been really uncomfortable. But that's part of the path. Right. I'm not going to go from one level to the next comfortable. If I want to be comfortable, I'm going to plateau and eventually fall off. You know, you got to go through that grind. You got to go through that discomfort. Because if you stay outside of your comfort zone long enough, it'll soon become comfortable. And that's what this whole thing is. See what I'm saying? Like the whole process is, like I said, he probably dropped these wands 100 times on this walk, but now it's getting a little bit easier. It's not getting easier. He's getting stronger. He's getting better. Right. And that's the whole path. And it takes a certain mentality. You have to be able to look at challenges and obstacles as an opportunity for growth and learning instead of running from them. You know what I'm saying?
Well, because everybody who is in this place is open to other people, whether they've made it, they want to show another person because they know that they're going to show them something back too. It's an equal exchange, but it also is the person who gets to a place is inspired by another person. So really, this is one of the most inspiring cards because the people who get to these places inspire others I was inspired to even by every big, when I was at NBC Universal and I did fucking Steve Harvey, the first astrologer to do in American television, a 30-minute TV segment on astrology. Fucking, I literally was there for a week. I literally was at stage 1. He had a bigger fucking stage than fucking Ellen. She's stage 2. And you know, it's one of those things being on so many TV shows, like big, where last thing I was intimidated. I was asking everybody, the director, the producer, the associate producer, the casting director, the associate to the casting director, every question I fucking can with excitement and gratitude and, oh, thank you. And they love that. Because everybody else in there feels, oh, you know what? I guess I'm going to be on here. I'm entitled to feel, they hate that shit. You won't get booked again either. So this is also a card of humbling, but not the humbling that I think people associate spiritually. A natural humbling you don't even know you're doing.
Yeah.
Because you're determined to figure things out and you're like, God, look at, I fucking carried all the way here and I got here. And then they're like, yep, look at, now take that and go take the next 10 of wands and keep going.
That's the real definition. Well, speaking of humble, that's the real definition of humble. Like there's this concerted effort in society and especially in the spiritual community to make people think that humble means no self-esteem, low self-respect. Like there's a difference between being confident and being arrogant. There's a difference between being humble and having no self-esteem. Like I've told you this before, I get these comments all the time. You used to be so humble. I wasn't humble. I was scared to death. Right. I had no self-esteem. I had no confidence. Now I'm confident, you know?
Right.
Like that's the real, what you just said right there. That's what real humility is.
You know what? And to bring Steve Harvey back up, people always ask me, like, is he the real thing? I'm like, he's the best, most real celebrity I've ever worked with in my life. He fucking nicest person, drives around in his golf cart around NBC, giving out money to people like, go take your girl out to dinner. You know? Like, you've been awesome this week. Go do that. But the best was when I sat and I got to talk to him and I'm like, how do you do all the Family Feuds, this show? Because I asked him, I'm a producer. I'm on camera every day. I have a studio. And he's like, David, I do all the Family Feuds in 3 weeks. I'm like, what? He goes, I literally tell them, bring 6 families in. We're doing 6 episodes a day.
Oh, shit.
So he films them all in 3 weeks. You want to talk about some 10 of 1 shit, success? And have your own show? And he's in the middle of him taping. If you notice all his reels, he does a TV show. Then when they go on break and they have to switch sets, he goes in the audience and does exactly what you and I are doing right now. He talks to people like, what's your problem right now? Boom. Has a person with a camera there, is recording him doing it while he's doing that. That motherfucker does not stop for 1 second. And he told me since he's like you and I. He was fucking in his car, got a phone call to do a stand-up in New York, had no money, had just enough money to get there. And with Faith in the Universe, went and did that stand-up in New York when he was down in the South. With no money. He was like, I have just enough to just get there. I don't even know if they're going to pay me. Changed his life.
Yeah.
And to be able to talk to him and to actually get those backgrounds on him was like so inspiring. I was like, fuck yeah, that motherfucker's so real. And did you know that he is the #1 social media profile in the world? He is 50-50 male, female. He has every demographic equally, from young kid to the oldest of people to the middle. He hits everybody. And it's because of his determination and to keep fucking grinding it out and putting it out there and never quitting and never stopping. And I was like, he's the one person in the world I've actually met who was legit it. Legit. Like, Steve Harvey's legit. And he's spiritual. And he was willing to open up about astrology to his audience. And when he talked to me about it, and they didn't put it on the show because whatever the producers are, he literally told me when I was talking about the astrology at the intro of the show, I'm sure people have seen it, it's on my YouTube. But literally, he's like, my mom always told me that when you pick up a Bible, that there's astrology all in this. He said that on the show.
Yeah.
And he fucking said that and they didn't put it on the show. But I was like, literally like, I remember that was a sign. This is a good card of when people come into your life that have been on the journey that you've been inspired with, you will always realize they're the most real people. Because this is the card of real. Like, you're a real fucking motherfucker. When you fucking have done it and your hands are fucking man hands or women hands, women wear it in different ways as men, but we all wear it the same way. Mm-hmm. It's whether you've got the determination. It's grit. You know, it's like, it reminds me of fucking John Wayne, like True Grit. Like, you know, you got it or you don't.
Yeah, yeah. But, you know, like I said, it can get in the way sometimes. And also, too, in the reverse, it can mean healing.
Yeah.
Because, like I said, a lot of people, because there's probably a lot of people watching right now who feel like they're in this energy right here. But like I've said, a lot of the people in this energy right here are carrying a bundle of bullshit they don't need to be carrying.
Yeah.
You know, like...
That's the most dangerous part of this card.
Yeah. And I think that's probably the majority of people because, like you said, they have an identity crisis or it's... A matter of fact, that's probably the perfect way to put it. They have an identity crisis.
Because then it's identifying with the wrong bundle. And it could literally be where it's also like imposter syndrome too. Yeah. Like you're carrying to be this person you're really not.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. And I mean, that's very normal though, especially if you're leveling up to question. Like I said, this is real humility. Like you know, whenever you're going to level up, you're going to have those thoughts of, well, am I good enough? Am I doing the right thing? That's kind of normal. Yeah. But whenever, like, going back to what you said about social media, like poisoning people's minds, you'll go to Instagram and you'll see that like for men, they'll see that big ripped dude that's been going to the gym probably for the last 20 years. And then he'll go to the gym for maybe 2 weeks and not see any results and think, oh, I'm quitting, I'm giving up, you know? And like, well, you're not really honing in on who you really are and what it is that you really want. You see the surface level. We'll look at people and we'll see the surface level of their life and just assume that they have it easy. Like how the hell are we going to reverse this brainwashing that's been done on people to want everything so quick and easy?
Or like the Steve Harvey example, I'm not wanting to be Steve Harvey. I'm wanting to be David Palmer, the Leo King. Steve Harvey is an amazing example of ways of how he does it that I can just get confirmation of like, damn, he can do that. He's doing more than me. Holy shit. Yeah. That's the best part. Not the negative, like, oh God. It's an inspiring thing. Like, damn, if he can do that, I can do that too. Yeah. And in my way, not his way. Like, I'm not doing Family Feud. Like, I don't want to go be the Family Feud host. Yeah. And you know, I remember we were talking about, you know, cause I was there for a while. Like there was the curse on Family Feud, you know, like all the hosts that have like died from being on Family Feud, like, right? And all that weird shit. And he's like, I'm not afraid of that fucking curse. You know why? They didn't fucking put the blood, sweat, and love and tears that I'm going to put into this. That's the difference. They did it for something else. They didn't do it. He's like, I love that show because I love families. I'm like, duh. That's it right there. He changed the frequency because those motherfuckers who used to host that show didn't do it for the fucking families, did it for their own fucking fame. And that's imposter syndrome 101 right there. Fucking, you're on a show. Oh, I got the gig. I'm the fucking Family Feud host, but I can give a fuck about families. Boom. That's how you know you're in the wrong spot right now. Like, I'm here at yoga, but I hate yoga. Boom. Retard. Wake up. You know? Yeah. Like fucking...
That's where your intentions are so important. I tell people this all the time. Your intentions, like you can't hide your intentions from the universe. Oh, like, you gotta be good in here. It don't matter what anybody else thinks, because we're clouded with this idea of I just want everybody to think this. The universe does not manifest your life experiences based on what other people think. The universe manifests your life experiences based on what's really happening in your heart and mind. So, I mean, like the host of the show or whatever, or anybody out there doing anything, you can have everybody bamboozled into thinking that you have these intentions. That doesn't matter. That's not what your life experiences manifest on. You need to be able to go to bed at night and tell yourself, my intentions are pure. I know why I'm doing this. I know where my heart is. And the universe knows where my heart is. It doesn't matter what anybody else thinks. You can think in one hand and shit in the other. You have to be able, let them talk. They're going to talk. You're going to have people. You're never going to escape judgment. Ever. That's another thing that people get so clouded up with, is they have this delusion in their mind that they're going to be able to figure out some way to make everybody love them. No, there's always going to be people that think something about you. You're always going to have some idiot who's not even close to having their shit together, talking shit about you and judging you. You have to be able to seriously not give a fuck what anybody thinks. Everybody claims... Everybody says, oh, I don't care what anybody thinks, but then you see them bending and folding to other people's opinions. No, when you really don't care what other people think, you'll let them say what they want. And your intentions have to be so pure. That's why people end up in a position like that. They have the wrong intentions. They think it's okay because everybody else is bamboozled.
Yeah.
Bam, the universe knocks you off.
It does knock you off. I love what you just said, though, because I just feel like it's the nail on the head, because it doesn't have to be when you're physically just doing something. It's like that moment in bed. The 10 of Wands is everything of the intentions that you're holding on to through the day that's moving to the next day. I love that you brought that up when you're in bed. Like, are my intentions pure? Because the 10 of Wands can be felt while you're sitting in bed. It can be felt anywhere. It doesn't have to be while you're sweating it out or when you're making the shit happen. But it's about whether or not you are in that space where it's like, that's a hard place when you can reflect on, why did this person just say this to me? Why did this situation happen? Or why is this? Were my intentions good? Am I still doing the good thing every day? Yes? All right, then. I know it's going to be okay, and I'm just going to keep going that direction. Instead of getting lost into fucking a crazy place and starting to get off that path. Because I feel like if you can't have that X factor that takes you to the court cards. That's what's cool about all the 10s in the tarot. They're all X Factor moments, you know? Because even after the 10 of Cups, it's like, that's great. But then there's the court cards that's where you hold those places. Because we've all had the beautiful relationship that looks good and all that shit. And feel like we've been fully abundant and we've had it all. And then it just goes fucking, you know what I mean? Like, and same thing with this, you know, like you can get to that place and then just fucking up one day, I don't feel like doing it anymore because I want to go do something that really has no more purpose or whatever. Or I don't know. When you brought this card up, it was like right before we did this, I was thinking of like, this card could also be like the bitch whipped person. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm just going to keep doing whatever fucking thing you want to make you happy. I'm just going to do whatever. And I will take on all of your shit. What do you want me to take on? I will take all of it on. And to a point to where you're just like, getting trampled on. Yeah. Trampled. And that's the worst when you're just running around like, it's my fault. I'm so sorry.
No, that's why I said don't take on burdens that aren't yours to take on. You are not a bad person if you like you know how you see so many people look at the news and they see something that's happening 1,000 miles away and they get so torn to pieces over it. And it's like, you're not required to flood your body with toxic stress hormones over something that's happening 1,000 miles away that you have no control of.
Right.
It's a virtue signal. Oh, I'm trying to earn some false virtue by showing everybody that I feel so empathetic and sad. It's like, that does not make you a good person. That makes you an idiot. You're misusing your energy. You don't have to take on burdens that aren't yours to take on. If you see this homeless man begging for money and you really don't got it like that, that does not make you a bad person for not helping him. You know, like there's this virtue signaling brainwashing that's going on where you have so many people walking around taking on burdens that aren't even theirs to take on. You're not even in the position to take on that burden. That does not make you a good person to completely deplete yourself, drain yourself dry, and leave yourself with nothing and fuck yourself up because you want to be of service to others. If you really want to be of service to others, it behooves you to be of service to yourself first so that you can be of service to others, which again goes back to your intentions, because there will be people judging you and talking shit, calling you selfish. Think what you want. I don't give a fuck what you think. I know why I'm being of service to myself, and that's because if I'm not of service to myself, I'm of service to fucking nobody. That makes sense?
And that service to self can be diluted too, of like, I'm doing something when I'm not. It's receipts. This is a card of receipts. You know, people say, oh, I'm focused on myself, I'm doing this. And then they actually become the actual real narcissist ego, where it's like, what do you mean? I'm focused on myself. To get out of my life, I'm just doing me. It's just like, oh, wow, okay. Like, that's where you've lost it now. Like, now you're just doing it because you're just wanting to say, like, I'm focused on me now. Like, people are just really, this is, it's an emotional, responsible card, because the wand is, when you're in actual maturity, you are going to take on things that are serving your better self, that are creating a better life, and it is not a burden to others. Like, the universe wants you to have everything that you want. It's just whether or not you're going to show up and do all of it. All of it, not some of it, not a little of it. If the universe throws us a universe like this, everything that you could do whatever the fuck you want. You can create whatever the fuck you want. If the bad guys are creating fucking weapons that are fucking crazy and doing all this crazy shit, imagine if you were to put the same energy into the good. It blows my mind that people just, they're hurrah. That's the other thing. This card is, nobody gives hurrahs to this person, but they give hurrahs to the person that's like, congratulations, you just stopped crying today. It's so sensitive in an environment now, like nobody can handle, but the world, this is how we made it to this place. This is the card of evolution. This is how humanity made it. It wasn't made off people chilling in the back. It was made off the humans that kept going forward in wood huts and fucking little things and fucking hunt and gathering, you name it, and creating a fucking pyramid to whatever that didn't just happen in a way that we even today don't even know.
Yeah.
You know, everybody's just always, I think it's kind of the, and there's good conspiracies and there's good things that they could have had assistance. But at the same time, it could have just been, we lived in a population that everybody was willing to fucking do 10 times what they're doing right now.
Yeah.
10 times.
And going down that avenue goes down to the war on men nowadays.
Yeah.
You know, how many times have you scrolled through your reels and seen where some woman is saying, we don't need men at all? And they're like, who do you think built the house you live in?
I know.
Who do you think
is out there doing the power lines right now?
Paved the road that you drove here on? Built the car that you drove here in?
I know.
Like, everything that makes up your whole life, it took this.
I know.
And just the delusional states of mind that some people are in nowadays. And I really want to bridge the gap, because see what we're talking about today, if you pay attention, this is what I love about doing this podcast here. The things that we're talking about today are things that, this is not an unusual subject. Lots of other people talk about this very subject matter right here, but to bridge it with spirituality.
I know.
Because now in today's day and age is the day and age where we have to bridge the gap between spirituality and every fucking thing else that's going on out in the world. Because it seems like we have all these little separated, marginalized cliques and groups and whatnot. And then along with those little categories of collective groups, we have the spiritual community over here all by itself. When it's like the spiritual community needs to be connected to every last one of these little categories that are out here in the world, you know? That makes sense?
It makes too much sense. It reminds me of this pandemic we went through. They wanted everybody to stop doing this.
Yeah.
The people who went into 2020 doing this didn't stop doing this. The ones who stopped doing this, their life has been rattled beyond comprehension.
Some of them are dead.
Yeah, I mean, I was trying to be nice, but yeah.
Yeah.
Most of them are dead. You know, people are asking like, why are all these things? Well, you know, when the government starts small, not like huge, start cutting back on things, people think, oh, because we're the money. It's more like, no, a lot of people are gone.
Mm-hmm.
People aren't putting the pieces together. Like there's those segments that are out there just focused on the pandemic, and it's great. And they're wanting to wake people, but they're not giving the spiritual aspect of it. It's so much deeper. It's like there's so much, but I feel like that's the whole thing is like, I remember the only thing that fucking got me, it wasn't that people, number one, I already had warned people. I already predicted it, but I was saying people were going to fucking die in massive grows because they're going to fall for some bullshit here. But the main thing was like, I'm like, people are just going to stop being their best selves right now. People are wanting to just go do nothing and sit home and get money and to be on Amazon. I'm like, this is going to create everything that you're seeing that's crazy right now is because of that. Mm-hmm. Everybody that got off this path. Mm-hmm. I'm going to stay at home. I'm going to fucking put on a mask and I'm not going to go anywhere. Mm-hmm. What do you think's going to come out of that? You're not getting to the next side. You're not getting anywhere. If anything, that's fucking the devil card or fucking the tower card or however you want to look at it. If you understand the true spiritual nature of how the divine code of the universe works, that is the last thing that you ever do, ever, in our history and evolution. Even during the Black Plague, people still were doing shit. Mm-hmm. The Black Death, to be precise.
Yeah, when you stop doing that, I'll tell you exactly what you get. You will own nothing and be happy. That's what you get. That's what you get. That's been the plan this whole time. How the hell do we get a population of 6, 7, 8, 9 billion people to willingly own nothing and be happy? Well, we just brainwash them for 50, 60 years, 5, 6 decades to believe that their number one goal in life is to get to a point to where they don't have to do anything.
I know.
That's the way we do it. And they've man, I'm telling you, these people are good. They don't mind. Like I said in that one episode, they don't mind waiting 50 years to brainwash us. Okay, well, we got to get the humans thinking this way. So it's going to take us about 50 years. We got to start here. Vacation days, days off, right. Retirement, and every little product that's invented is supposed to make life easier. So that gets us thinking that way, looking forward to that day off, looking forward to the day that we don't have to do anything. And then that encodes that vibrational way of thinking into our DNA. And then we pass it on to our kids. Right. And then decades and decades later, now here we are arguing over what a fucking woman is. Like,
or what benefits to where you don't have to do anything, that we don't even have the amount of people. So Social Security, for example, it was deemed illegal by the Supreme Court. Then FDR took over, packed the court. Then they changed that. Then he passed it during the New Deal. That was at a time, though, for every 5 workers, 1 person was on Social Security, right? Now that the baby boom happened, as you said, 50, 60 years ago, we're the ones getting fucked. Mm-hmm. Now it's down to 2 to 1. So if you're a couple, you're paying for 1 person's Social Security right now. What do you think's happening in the math in 10 years? Opposite. How that doesn't work. It's not. It doesn't. Logistically is impossible. All based off the lie to have you actually work for something that you think that you're going to get, and that's how they do it. Here's the fucking carrot. You're going to be able to get free money from the government when you get old. So, people are so like, look at what they did with the pandemic. It's like, look what they've been doing since you were born.
Yeah.
Every piece has been a fucking lie. Your 401k. It's just like a joke how people are, especially the people who put it in were part of the people who brought in the baby boom, and they made it to where they could live their kosher life, and they knew that it wouldn't work in the future. It's known. That's the craziest part of this week is people are afraid about money and all these things right now. It's like, go do this. Go do this. You'll be fine. It's always this. Just go do this. Stop worrying about the conditions of what they're telling you, or whether the debt ceiling passed or not, or whether or not fucking China and Russia or Ukraine on an AI television fucking, that literally all your TVs now say AI fucking, you want to move it to AI sound, AI fucking picture, AI this. Go watch your AI fucking tell you what to do. Mm-hmm. Or your new Apple, whatever goggles they're calling them, they're going to be $3,500, so they want you to live in augmented mixed reality and wear them while you're walking around in the day. Like, to where you do more nothing. Yeah. Like, that's the gnarly part. Nobody wants to hear that fact because it's so triggering. When people got triggered so much because they got duped over the pandemic. The pandemic was fucking here. There's so much below that that's what we're here to awaken people for their better life first. But once you do that, then you start looking at how it's affecting all of our collective. And that's the part to where you have a contribution as an individual to make a change so this collective can change. Nobody can do it by themselves. No team can do it. No one group can do it. Yeah. The whole entirety has to do it. And that's why it feels like a burden right now, because the collective, it feels like this.
Yeah.
But the worst part is the collective's not walking with the ones. Yeah. They're just sitting in the 9 of Wands holding it, knowing to do it. But, I have to do this. I have to go to Costco, and I have to go sit down and take it. I do my 5 hours of on the couch.
Yeah, that's one of the main reasons why, if you pay attention, I don't know if you've noticed this or not. Tell me what you've noticed, but when I look around the spiritual community on the internet, from what I've seen, me and you are the only two people who do something very specific. And that is, we don't build our entire online identity around nothing but spirituality.
Right.
Like, shit, I'll show you my fitness, my plants, my family, right. And it seems like, and you do that too with your jet ski racing and the stuff.
Couches in the freeway.
Yeah. And the thing about it is
they're not being a total full being.
Yeah. Yeah. And we really need to get people to understand how to put this into their real life. When you look around and you see somebody like, I don't know, and I'm just making up a name. I don't know who this is, but say, for example, King of Swords Tarot. Say that's a tarot reader. I don't know if that's a real tarot reader or not, but then you'll see this individual's entire online identity is based around nothing but the tarot.
Right.
So that gets you looking, and you're wanting to build this fake, false identity, and then you're creating a little marginalized group that's dividing you away from the rest of the collective. And that's the reason why I do what I do. When you look at my Instagram, you're not going to see just nothing but a bunch of spiritual shit. It's because I want you to understand. I have this fire that burns inside of me to make you understand how to really incorporate this into your real life. And get the collective. The collective has to wake up. I can't do it all by myself. Fucking David can't do it all by himself. There's no one person that can carry the collective into the new earth.
Right.
We have to understand that we need to get back to, we're not going backwards. So I'm not part of that right-wing group of people who wants everything to go back to the way it was in the 50s. But there are a few things that we do need to reach back in time. To just
keep staying on the original path.
Yeah, and that's one of them, is that, it's the goal is not to have an easy life. The goal is for you to become so much better and so much stronger that you enjoy the hard work and the challenges and the obstacles. That's the reason why in 2020, I started going to the gym.
Right.
Because I'm like, look, if it's going to get this crazy, I need to train my brain to think under stress. And now, they've backed off a little bit. Everything seems like it's going back to normal. Oh, everybody's softening up now, and they're resting back and relaxing. I'm still running 5 miles every morning. I'm grinding every day, because when some crazy shit does hit the fan, and I've been doing this the whole time while y'all were kicked back on the couch having fun, who do you think it's going to be that's going to be able to make it through the next crazy shit that they pull?
Right.
Exactly.
That's how they do it. They know how to wear people down, because if they're not willing to handle what the last 3 years was, I'm glad that's once in a 100-year thing, because they lock them in a fucking construct the same way on your day off. It's supposed to be great, even though the astrology might be fucking horrible. You know what I mean? I always tell people, it's that's what sucks. If you notice, there's more stress when people do the whole vacation thing, than the vacation itself. Mm-hmm. And the second there's a problem, oh my God, the fucking rental car, and they're screaming at each other. Mm-hmm. It's man, is that really a day off? Or people go all these long distances to do a day off, and the whole traveling and all that is a fucking 10 of Wands burden. 90% of the time. And most of the vacation is just for a little moment. And then you're back on the long journey. And then, I don't want to have to go back to this reality. So that's what they've built. I don't want to have to go back to this reality. They've built the Monday blues, as they call them, for most people.
People brag about that shit.
And it's funny because Monday is Moon Day. You know what I mean? Like that. All the names of the fucking week are from the planets. So it's like, Monday's Moon Day where you get all moody. I have to go back to the job I emotionally don't want to hold on to and carry the weight of shit and move the shit I don't want to move. I mean, and then giving an excuse like, well, I'm almost out of there. I mean, I'm almost there. I'm trying to get there. There's no trying with this card.
Right.
But that's the other thing about light workers. Light workers is how we all feel because we will not stop until people get it. Mm-hmm. And even though it doesn't feel like a burden, it feels like a fucking deep responsibility. Yeah. And that's a positive thing.
Yeah.
There's nothing in life that goes anywhere good. Or that was my whole point about the Seven of Swords in this card don't even mix. They're like oil and water.
Yeah.
Right? The Seven of Swords is somebody who's not doing anything and got to a weird space.
I was going to say.
You know what I mean? They definitely were not holding a bunch of wands together. Yeah. He's holding 7 swords that are not his. They're not his.
He's trying to avoid carrying the wands.
Exactly.
That's perfect example. I mean, not all, but most of the time, whenever somebody's doing some Seven of Swords shit, it's because they're too fucking lazy to do this.
I know.
Like whenever you see somebody doing this, okay, well, I can probably trust you then.
Right.
If I'm really seeing you get down there and grind, because there's many different paths to the top of the mountain. There's the hard way, which is the right way, and then there's the easy way, which is usually the Seven of Swords, Five of Swords. Who do I have to lie to, cheat, manipulate, steal from? That's the difference between service to self, service to others. Going back to that.
Yeah.
Service to self is I'm going to do me, and I don't care who I have to hurt to do me. I don't care who I have to lie to, who I have to steal from, cheat on, manipulate. Now, service to others is kind of weird because you still have to say, I'm going to do me. But again, it goes back to your intention. The reason that I'm doing me right now is so I can be of service to others.
Right.
I would rather email one of my clients and refund them some money and get them their reading late so that I can get my vibe right than get on camera and give them a sloppy, shitty reading, like say,
right.
I just got a bad night's sleep or something like that. And my vibe is just off. And I'm just like, man, I can't think straight. I would rather email my client and say, here's some of your money back. Your reading's going to be a little bit late. I got to do me. I got to get my vibe right. If I don't get my vibe right, I'm not bringing value to the table. It's not all about money. The money's good. No. That's a good little bonus. But like what you said, I don't even know how to explain it. A real true light worker feels this deep-seated duty, responsibility. That it's like, I don't even know where it came from, really. I can't even really look back at my life and point to that one day that this fire ignited under my ass to where every time I pick up the camera, I have a responsibility. Like, right. I have an intention. I want to turn a light on in your head. Every time the camera turns on, I want to turn a light on in your head. I want to get you thinking about, I just want to say that one thing that makes you go, I never thought about that. And then change your path so that, those of us light workers don't have to do this anymore because the rest of the collective is doing this with us. And then we can actually carry this fucking collective of people or who wants to go into the new world, Well, I think you bring up a good point because it's not like we're all Zoltar. Just keep putting a quarter in and, when it comes to readings and the responsibility, if so much shit's gone down, people get so upset with me if I'm like, I have to move your reading hours or I have to move your reading to next week. Yeah. There's a lot going on. That's a hard thing. People are not ready for divine timing. And every time that I go on a reading that I have to move, which is like 30% of them, and those 30% think it's everybody, you know what I mean? It's like, and then the other 70% are like, wait, do you mean I just had it yesterday? It's like, sorry that you weren't on that day. It didn't work out. Yeah. But that's the whole, like people can't, that's the other thing is people just think the quarter, just put it in
and you'll just do whatever I want. When you get on camera, even to do this show, it's not like Rich and I, he just comes in and we just push play. Yeah. There's work that's behind it. There's dedication. There's talking. There's putting the energy, and then the excitement. Like, we're about to put on the Awakening Experience, actual experience in a month, the weekend after July 4th. We're going to put it up this week, where we want you to come experience the whole Awakening Experience with events that we're doing here for a whole weekend. So we're super excited about that.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. I've kind of teased people with, we're talking about it and planning it, and now it's pretty much official now, right?
It is official, yeah, 100%.
Yeah. It's going to be like a live event where y'all can come here and watch us film this show, and then.
But we're going to have so many events and so many workshops, but really, honestly, because the Awakening Experience is an experience, to put people through the Awakening Experience. Mm-hmm. We have the beach that's close by. It's the summer. Yeah. There's so much to do. So we're putting together the retreat that'll be here the weekend after July 4th. And it's my last live event for probably the next, I don't know, until at least the fall, late fall.
Yeah.
Because we're having a baby in August. So
I would like to be able to do it regularly whenever.
Well, we will. It's just, fuck.
Yeah. Well, whenever you're, because man, having that first baby, you never really know.
I have to be on call right after that weekend. I'm on call if she has contractions, or I can't put the responsibility on having hundreds of people come and.
Yeah. Yeah, it's unpredictable.
Sorry, everybody, the baby's coming. Bye.
Yeah. It's unpredictable, man.
I know.
That's one of those things that, I would like to give advice, but I just don't feel like you really can, because that's one of those things.
I gotta go. That's the other thing. The experience that you get from doing something can only be found within yourself. You can't, give somebody a full experience. The Awakening Experience, we could give you to where you have your own Awakening Experience, however you're going to have it. Some people are going to have it different than others. Mm-hmm. That's the best part, though. Mm-hmm. But what I've always noticed doing events or retreats is when 100, 200 people all have it at the same time together, because of the work that we all do together. Mm-hmm. And it's always not at some moment that you think, well, at 10 p.m. they're doing this, or at 4 p.m. or 2 p.m. or 8, whatever. It's not. It's a natural thing that happens. I love this card because this card's always one of those ones. When I was doing my Deep Love Tarot, I'd always look at it like, oh, well, maybe you're too busy to look for love right now. Mm-hmm. The people, as a man, the women that are looking, well, it used to be, and I actually think it still is, because I feel like that's how Sophia was when she saw me, or maybe how Leia is when she saw you. The man that's fucking doing shit, that's the one the girls are looking at. They're not looking at you at the fucking club looking like a fucking idiot. Like, they don't take you serious. They might hook up with you, but they ain't gonna fucking give you their soul. Yeah. Not in a way like you own it, but like they're not gonna open their soul up to you fully for a full-blown life partnership.
Well, that goes back. Remember what we were talking about that day when I was watching you DJ, and we were out smoking, and we were kind of looking around, and it was funny because me and Leah were talking about it that night. Like, what is everybody out here doing? And I'm like, trying to get laid.
Right.
Trying to get laid. I mean, it's that goes back to that deep-seated programming of emotional codependency, where I'm just desperately trying to go out and find somebody, anybody. I guarantee you, 90% of the people who are in those packed, crowded clubs, the number one thing on their mind is, I hope I meet somebody tonight. And it's like, well, okay, well, what do you think that energy is going to manifest? You're like that lonely desperation. I just want to meet somebody. I need to meet somebody, and that's going to fix all my problems. It's like, no, it's not. No, it's not. Especially if you're a man. Especially. Right. Like, I don't really want to speak on the feminine aspect of that. I don't feel like it's my place. But especially if you're a man, you should be out there working on your shit, building your shit. Put that as your number one priority. Right. And because I remember when I flipped that switch, when I said, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to get myself together, and I'm going to make a name for myself somehow. Every spare moment of my time, I worked 11 hours a day at a car wash, scrubbing cars. My days off, all day, every day, I'm building businesses.
Right.
I'm researching how to target an audience, you know, with social media ads. I'm taking courses. I'm building websites, and that was, I would eat, sleep, and shit, manifestation. And that was all, every spare penny of my money, of my minimum wage check that I was making, was to take online courses. And like, that's where you need to be, right here.
Right.
And you'll find it. Especially
but it's funny
if
you bring up the club thing, because it's like everybody at the club that works there, the DJs, we do it for the music, the bartenders, the bar manager, they don't give a... Have you ever... How many times have you seen especially a woman who's a bartender, right? Fucking guy tries, hey, yeah, you look hot tonight. What are you doing after? She's just like, doesn't even say anything.
Mm-hmm.
She's like, she's in this mode, like, I'm getting all my tips because I'm building my fucking shit and I'm getting the fuck out. I'm using this as to provide for my school or my business that I'm building. Every time, bartenders, they don't stay. They come in, they get as much cash as they want, and they have a determination. Mm-hmm. DJs do it for the music. When I was up there with Derek, we were at a time, though, when people used to come for just the music. It wasn't about getting laid. Where literally on the dance floor, you walked around and people were just like, what do you, like, you're ruining the set. I'm listening to this DJ. It's like, but that's where I think that there's a difference now also in music and culture. Like, you know, you just see the events that are just to fucking look like a fucking thing, just to have people go feel empty. It reminds me of Pleasure Island and fucking Pinocchio, where all the boys go there because they just want to experience everything they want to, and smoke and drink and do whatever, and then they turn into donkeys, you know, because they were all fucking, they lost, even Pinocchio, he was supposed to he was going to be a real boy. He was just, all she said was just be a good boy, just listen, and Jiminy Cricket's his conscious, right? I love how Jordan Peterson goes so deep into the Pinocchio thing. Mm-hmm. Because people are so Pinocchio in their life. Like, their conscious is telling them what to do and they're not doing it. Like, no, I'm gonna go follow this stupid kid into fucking Pleasure Island and really, there's a guy, this old man. I mean, if you think of all the crazy shit going on right now in the world, right? Like, if some old man and you're a young dude telling you, yeah, we're going to this place, you can drink, do whatever the fuck you want, all your pleasures will be Pleasure Island. Mm-hmm. You already are in a bad fucking place because you're not even doing this. And that's the whole funny thing is Pinocchio's on his way to school and, oh, you're going to be the next new famous star. And they pull him, remember the fox, and they go make him, and they all laugh at him. And then he gets thrown in the back fucking, and he's locked up, and they're like, ha ha ha, we're going to turn you into a fucking stage show fucking all around. Like that, Jordan Peterson goes so deep into Pinocchio and how that's most people in their life. Mm-hmm. Like, and that's the problem is they just, or they look back at the past at what they think is so, because that's the one thing is Pinocchio keeps wanting to go to things like that because, oh, I was a star, I was this. That's what's hard in this social media culture. It's like, I used to be this and I used to be that. I just want to keep holding on to that instead of the ones who actually do really well, which is very few, take that moment and go. Mm-hmm. I mean, if you even think of the big actors, it's like, the highest paid actor sure is The Rock, but let's not forget The Rock fucking was a fucking WWE fucking guy. Yeah. Who you would have never think would have ever been the top actor. Mm-hmm. He shifted himself. Or the number one paid is actually not him, it's George Clooney because he made a vodka company off what he did. That's what, you know, so it's like, or if you look at Adam Sandler or any of them, they have their own production companies that they sell to Netflix. They're not just running the same thing. They're taking on that, oh God, I'm taking a risk, an extra burden. I'm going to make a production company. I'm going to do this. Or The Rock. You would have laughed in the fucking 90s seeing The Rock on WWE with Trump there. Slamming somebody down, or even Trump, right? To be president of the United States. You would laugh, but it's possible. You got to know how to fucking do more than fucking just the basic. Or just like, oh, I've already made it. If you think you've already made it, you're done. Yeah. You're done. That's the number one killer to this is like, I already was this. I already had this. It's like, that's nothing. I bet you I can find you 500 people and I will write all 500 people's names down that will prove to you that there's way more to do. All the time. There's always somebody that's around you that's doing more than you could be doing. Yeah. Always.
Because you don't want to put a finish line in your mind. That's what these people do. They put this finish line in their mind. I won't lie. I did it too. I did it too. I put a finish line in my mind. 6 figures a year was my finish line. And you don't ever want to put a finish line in your mind. The goal is to get addicted to this. Same thing with like going to the gym and running 5 miles every morning. My goal is not to lose weight and get shredded. My goal is to get addicted to running every morning. That's my goal. Is like, I think people lose sight of the fact that, you know, when you always hear every successful person say the same thing. It's the process. Yeah. It's the journey. And if you have that finish line in your mind, you're not really going to be able to wrap your mind around that.
Right.
Because what do they say? The man who enjoys walking will always walk farther than the man who loves the destination.
Yeah.
It's the process. It's the journey. Oh, I made it. Well, what the fuck is it?
There is no it.
There is no it. You made what? Oh, everybody sees you a certain way. You want to look a certain way because we're so programmed to look at the outside perception of things. Oh, I stood up on a pedestal with a medal around my neck and everybody saw me as being on the top of the mountain. Okay, well, now what? What are you going to do now?
Well, I was going to say, since I've done that a lot, it just collects dust on walls.
Yeah.
And unless I point it out to people, they'll look at it, which I don't. There's no point. Nobody goes and looks at all my trophies or all my fucking wins. It's not like people are in here for the spiritual thing or the work. And that's what you notice as somebody when you say you think you made it, because I've done that so much. I made it on this. I did that. I did. Mm-hmm. No, it's what I'm doing in this moment right now and where this can go next. That's always what it is. It never stops. It's like, there is no, I made it. Fucking the fuck no. Just right when you think you made it, there's always a change too to see if it's a test. Like this building, man, it was nice having this at 88 cents a square foot. It's at $1.07 now. When you add 13,333 square feet, oh my God. You know, it's like, fuck, I don't even know how it happens, but I don't trip. I go, whatever it's gonna fucking take to get there, I'm gonna fucking get there. Not in a negative way either, not putting people down, just in my own workload, in my own whatever I'm gonna take on. And that's what it takes. And a lot of people, I don't know why that's so hard for people now. I don't know why it actually has been our whole lives, our parents' lives, and our grandparents, and my great-great-grandparents, because I have all the history and their letters. My great-great-great-great-grandfather came here on the Oregon Trail, went and fucking was finding gold, and was writing love letters in the 1800s to my fucking, it would soon to be my great-great-great-grandmother, and literally was like, I know that you're probably with so-and-so, but I just hope you know I'm out here grinding, I'm gonna get this gold. And he fucking found gold. And God, when the railroads were made, went back east, picked her up, married her, and brought her back here. That was very rare back then. Like, so to me, I'm able to see it where I'm like, man, I can look at my grandfather who helped build the first computer. I'm not even kidding. Like in a warehouse, a computer. I have the pictures of him in the 70s with the tape reels and the fucking computer, and he's printing out. He was the head CPA for Dole Fruits and converted Dole Fruits to be such a huge corporation because the money being spent, everything was in ledgers. To computerize it and to figure out to where they know to put money and not put money without having a human mind that is wanting it to be a certain way or to extend it out to be more money. It just blows my mind that people just don't want to go that far. They don't want to go reach beyond what they can feel. So I think that's what it really is like this matrix feeling of like, I can only go to this pinnacle. I wish I had just this. Like, you know, it's like, I wish I had, and whatever it is the most limiting place. Mm-hmm. It's like if I were to think of it as Jurassic Park, it's like, I just want to get to like, as a raptor, I just want to get to a foot across after the electric fence. That's all I want. That's how you got to look at it when you got to think of all Jurassic Park and the whole world, because eventually, if you watch the Jurassic Park series, they end up around the world, all the fucking dinosaurs. But it's like, you know, most dinosaur people are just like, I just want to get beyond this little fucking fence. I don't want to, they don't even see the horizon or where they could go or what the possibility is. It's just like, I just wish I had this job where I could just be this and I can only have this and I'd be so happy. I'd be so fulfilled. If I just had this, they limit. It's like, it's always a limiting factor. Like, if I just had this, I'd feel happy. Well, guess what? You're going to be the most unhappy because you're going to be saying, this is all it is?
Yeah.
It's just this? You have to take, it's the same words, use them in the context of where you think they are, and every time it will literally be that, and you'll be very unhappy.
That was the whole matrix, the whole 3D human game was built on that perception.
Yeah.
Again, I'll say it till my face turns blue. I did the same thing. All I wanted was $100,000 a year.
I know.
I'll never forget. 2019 is when I made my first $100,000, and I didn't even realize it until the following year when we were filing taxes.
Yeah.
And I think I made if I remember correctly, it was $110,000 in 2019, and I was like, "That's it? That's all $100,000 feels like?"
I mean, with inflation, it's like 10,000 today.
Yeah, it was like nothing, and that hit me real quick. That's really what started the whole transformation of me continuing to climb the mountain. And then all the things that everybody said about basically what we're talking about today are all started making sense. I'm like, oh, so the top of the first mountain is the bottom of the next. And you don't want to get to that finish line because like you just said, that's exactly, you're going to be like, that's it. This is it. That's the reason why famous actors and actresses kill themselves. People say, oh man, how could somebody like Robin Williams kill himself? How could this famous person who had everything be so depressed? That's why. Because after a certain point, if you're not living with some sort of sense of purpose, every day, the grind, then you're going to lose your sense of purpose. Life is going to be completely meaningless. And you know what? Going back to talking about fitness. Do you know what it was for me that really got me grinding to go into the gym every day? I found out that there is such thing as Navy SEAL Hell Week.
Yeah.
I had never heard of that. And when I first heard of that, I was mortified. I was like, you mean there are humans who are going through that? I didn't even think that was humanly possible.
There's no sleep.
Not only is that
no sleep for 3 days.
Not only is that possible, but that's a requirement.
Yeah.
So there are multiple men who exist on this planet who are training for 130 straight hours. And here I am bitching and groaning like a little bitch a half mile into a run. Oh my God. I got to rewire my fucking brain then.
Right.
So I mean, that just goes right in along with it. The goal is to get better, to grow as an individual. And you don't do that at the fucking finish line.
No, but the other thing that's cool about that, I was in the Navy and I was in the third hardest school, air crew school. So it goes air crew third, SWCC is second, special warfare combat crew, and then SEAL, right? So I had my own Hell Week. But it's about the individual that you have to learn how strong you are and how reliable and loyal you are, but then how to rely on the others in the group. Like in the SEAL Hell Week, they all have to lay on the fucking shore and hold on to each other while like pretty much drowning and learn how to get out there into the ocean and survive. Like that's just the basic. I love how you were like, God, I'm just a little bitch, because it's true. Like those guys will be on the ground and they'll take the fucking hardest hose with the most power you've ever seen and do it down your throat. Just like, shut the fuck up. While you're fucking doing fucking crunches, while you're fucking throwing up, while you're fucking have to no sleep, be on the beach fucking in full gear, camouflage gear, with weight on, in the mud, fucking at 1 a.m, and then go back and do something fucking another thing where you have to be co-op and go dive into the ocean and not be found with your gun and get out and pop the target. Like, you know what I mean? Like people have no idea. Fucking, it's just like, I guess I get a little bit of that because I was in boot camp and I was in the military where it's like, you do one thing wrong, you talk out of line, everybody suffers. That's the way they treat it. Mm-hmm. Everybody suffers. And then you watch like a little bitch. And then they all beat up on you. I was in when at least they still did hazing. And I liked hazing. And I know I might get a lot of shit for that. But when this is a true story. I fucking did air crew school, rescue swimming, and then I'm like, you know what? I fucking swam my whole life. I just don't want to I didn't enjoy it. I really wanted to work on F-18s because I loved fucking Top Gun, which was F-14 Tomcats. But I'm like, and I ended up being able to do that. I fucking talked to the yeomans, fucking went to the admin. They were like, yeah, you could switch. I'm like, fucking thank God. So I go out, I fucking get to my squadron. They just got back from Iraq, and fucking I'm the newbie, and I'm in the line shack. That's what they call it, right on the fucking line where all the fucking jets are. And they fucking took me in, took my coveralls off, and beat the shit out of me and took hydraulic fluid and poured the hydraulic fluid on my stomach while they were taking belts and their fists and beating my fucking chest and my fucking abs out. And the cuts, the fucking hydraulic fluid would go in there and burn, and it was fucking traumatizing. If you scream like a little bitch and complain, you're not trusted. And I remember, because they tell you about this shit, and I remember having it, and I remember it not being that bad, because I'm like, well, this is me. I'm showing them I'm not a little bitch. Guess what? The second I got done, I said, who's got a fucking cigarette and some fucking Cope long cut? Because that's what we used to fucking do, right?
Yeah.
Boom. They fucking loved me, and fucking Palmer was in, and we were all looked after each other. That kind of environment doesn't exist anymore, anywhere. I don't see it anywhere. Maybe in gangs, which I don't think is a positive thing. Because I was going to say, and I know I'm taking up, but I just want to say, when you were talking about this, about Robin Williams, what Robin Williams' issue with this was his demons.
Yeah.
You can't be on this path and be like, I'm just going to keep playing with my demons.
Yeah.
You have to put them down to get to where you need to go. You have to be a Navy SEAL, can't have your demons.
Mm-hmm.
There is no, oh, well, I'm just going to go do that, or I'm going to go do that. No, like that's the hard part in life. And I know that some people might take the hazing thing the wrong way, but that's what builds that trust within people, that brothership of like, are you a snitch? Are you a little bitch who's just like, because we want to know, because like the military is hardcore to where like, there's fucking guys who are going to be in charge of you. There's going to be officers. There's going to be higher ranked fucking enlisted guys that are pieces of dog shit. They rape their wives. They do crazy shit, and they fucking take it out on you. So you have to build a coalition within your fucking tribe of who you're enlisted with, of like, can we trust you? So, you know, if that motherfucker, if that chief or that petty officer, first class is fucking around and being a dick to one of our guys, you got our back. That's real life shit. A true story.
Yeah, and that goes back to what I was talking about a minute ago. How the point behind that is that, like, basically what they're doing in today's day and age is they're trying to put out the fire of masculinity. Now, I'm not for toxic masculinity,
right,
but we need to awaken that divine masculinity, where you're taking that energy of that toughness and channeling it towards the greater good of the collective. And that's what they're trying to stomp out. And they're trying to drown it with the toxic feminine. We need to awaken the divine feminine and the divine masculine. And we're not going to be able to balance this out while we still have men, you know, who are scared, whiny little bitches who just want to sit around on their couch and turn into soy boys, and, you know, and again, we need to bridge the gap between spirituality and all these other world issues that are going on right now. That's my goal here with this show.
Well, I was going to say, if you think about it, whether you're in the military or not, why have they drowned this voice out? What gets you through to get those is there's always, whether it's a division commander like RDC or some sort of, as people know, as drill instructors, but they depend on which service you're in, that are fucking in your ear going, you've got this, Palmer, let's go. If you are like that now, trying to get people to get on the fucking path in the light worker community, you are looked at as you're evil, you're demonic, when it's like, I'm not coming from an evil space, I'm coming from the empowerment space.
Yeah.
Like, tough love is not a negative thing. Tough love is to get you to the next level. Instead of like, come on, stop fucking being this, let's go. And people take that the wrong way. Mm-hmm. Oh my God. It's like, Wow. What gets everybody to that? When it gets to real war, which unfortunately it's going to.
Yeah.
People have been so, and that's not the timeline I want, Rich wants, anybody wants. But it's happening for a reason. To get people to get the fuck up again in their lives. That's the way the universe works. Unfortunately, I hate to say it, but Aries is the first sign. The god of war is the first sign. And unfortunately, it's wars that wake people up. Look what happened to America after World War II. Mm-hmm. It became what the America everybody wants to have back is. Well, what do you think's going to get it back? You know? And that's the hard part is people don't want that tough like love because it's like, I don't want to be seen. I don't want to have to do it. I don't want to. And now they've created the most epic fucking thing. And you got to give the dark some fucking round of applause because they've done such a good job to get everybody to be like, you're a fucking narcissist. And that's all these women podcasts are now. It's like, how to spot a narcissist, how to spot a blah, blah, blah. And then anybody who's speaking out of, people get tone wrong. Everybody gets tone wrong now. It's like, because they're seeing social media, they're getting the tone of the music and the right fucking voice, and the Ashtar command is coming, and in the stars you will see as the light, the transmission is coming through, and that's a nice tone. I'm not putting it down, but there's other tones. It's not monotone.
Yeah.
It's stereo. People talk about the double helix in our fucking DNA that's opening up to 12. Well, there's going to be more than one tone of the light. It's not going to be just like hey, this is the light.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know what would make me laugh is when we die and we all go to heaven and God fucking is like, hello, welcome home, and everybody going, oh my God, I thought it was supposed to be a different tone.
It's a war on masculinity. That's what because they won't be able to take over. They won't be able to take over really and fully sweep through the collective until masculinity is killed. So that's what all that's about. The buzzwords of, narcissist and toxic masculine and this and that. And they're drowning it out with anything and everything that they can. And the only thing they can think to drown it out with is feminine. Again, and it's again, yes, a round of applause. It's working because like what we talked about that one time, how many men out there are afraid to even go near spirituality because they think they have to be feminine.
Oh, I think this is a good way to close because I want to ask, we were talking about it for a sec, but we didn't talk about it. This notion that if you're an empath, that you attract in a narcissist.
Oh my God.
Which, if you're on this path, I'm just going to say, as an empath, you're the one choosing to drop this and go to the you know what I mean? Like
there are so many things wrong with that. First and foremost,
because it goes everywhere. It's been said for so long.
Yes, the empath attracting the narcissist. There are so many things wrong with that. The first thing is the only way you can attract a person into your life is if you are a vibrational match. That's not Rich Lopp's opinion. That is an immutable universal law.
Right.
So if you attracted a narcissist in your life, I'm sorry, but you were a vibrational match to that narcissist. But what it really is like a true empath, a real, genuine, true empath. What that is that's somebody that doesn't really know how to shield and has a hard time shielding. So they're too connected. I think what most people assume that an empath is somebody who is incredibly empty and codependent. Because that's what attracts the narcissist, is that empty codependency. Because if you think about it, again, like frequency attracts like frequency, and there's no judgment involved when you say that. I'm not saying good frequency, bad frequency. It doesn't matter if you're a good person or a bad person. Think, what energy, what vibration harmoniously resonates with narcissism? Emptiness, loneliness. Okay, so if I'm vibrating at this frequency of emptiness and loneliness, then I'm very likely to attract somebody on the other end of that harmonious spectrum, and narcissism vibrates and resonates very harmoniously with that. And they're both very low frequency. So no, I'm sorry, I'm probably pissed a lot of people off just now, but I don't give a fuck. That is such bullshit. Just
Well,
because
no, go on.
just because you're an empath does not mean you're going to attract a narcissist. That's not true, and that pisses me off so bad. You see that shit all over the fucking social media, all over Facebook, all over Instagram. No.
Well, I have always wondered, because I've never called myself an empath. Who brought out that term? I call it the hoping to be light worker.
Yeah.
Or the wannabe psychic.
Yeah.
Like, too afraid to say psychic. But the empath is, I'm empathetic to energy, but I am not, I'm gimped out on being a light worker. I'm being my own leader. I'm being my own path. I'm empathetic. I can feel the energy.
Yeah.
That's it. I can feel the energy.
Yeah.
Like, that's all to me empath is. And empathetic is for us to be empathetic to you for being such a sorry person. I feel sorry for you. Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
Like, that's the, whatever you're attracting as an empath is because so we can be empathetic to you. Yeah. By carrying the term empath, empathetic is what the word is. So we all are going to be empathetic to you. Oh yeah, no, I understand your sorry story, but you know what? I got all these wands I'm carrying. I'm empathetic, but I gotta go.
Actually, if you if you really wanted to be technical, the people who claim to be empaths a lot of times, if you really wanted to give that a name, it would be sympath, because there's empathy and there's sympathy. Most people I've met who are self-proclaimed empaths aren't actually empathetic at all. They're sympathetic.
Yes.
Empathy means I literally feel what you feel.
Right.
Sympathy means I feel horrible for you. Like if you're going through something sad, I sympathize. I feel so bad for you. That must be horrible to be going through what you're going through. Empathy means like I literally feel what you feel, and I don't want to feel that, you know?
Right.
And most of the people I've met in my personal life who claim to be empaths, like, okay, well, let me just see if you're feeling what I'm feeling.
Right.
No, you're not.
No.
I wouldn't need to say anything. You'd be feeling it right now. And you're not picking up on my energy at all.
No.
They're sympathetic.
That's
and again,
true.
most sympathetic people vibrate at a very low frequency, and that doesn't mean that they're bad people. Again, there's no judgment. But it is a low frequency, being very sympathetic, looking at all these horrible things that are happening that you have no control of, and putting yourself in that sad, low frequency emotional state doesn't make you a good person or a bad person. It just puts you on a low vibration, and you're going to attract low vibrational people into your life.
I mean, because the whole, I attract narcissists, it's like, the empath is the person sitting on the couch and Sarah McLachlan gets on TV and starts putting the animals.
Yeah.
And you fall for it and give the money that they don't give the money back to the animals for.
But that's actually sympathy.
Like, you know, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's the same thing. Like Sarah McLachlan is your fucking narcissist that you fell for, which is she doing anything bad? Maybe she does care about it, but it's like, oh my God, I can't. The puppies on the show. Oh my God. Those puppies were dead years ago. They're using stock footage. I know this because I was in the TV industry. They were using puppies that were dead. It's like the old days at the church I used to go to, and they would be like, here, sponsor this guy in Bangladesh, sponsor this kid in fucking whatever country. And my buddy and I, for 2 years, got the same fucking kid. They said it was the same age years later.
Huh, yeah.
Like, and it's like, hello, are you that stupid? I'm empathetic that I can feel that you're stupid, but it doesn't, like, you know, like I just, like, it's so easy to fucking see. And that's the problem in the spiritual communities. It's like, and you know, it's funny because there's a lot of spiritual communities against what's happening with identity issues. It's like, well, the spiritual community is identifying with some pretty stupid things.
Yeah.
Empath, like, you know, like simp. You know, I make a symphony about my fucking empath and be empathetic about my symphony story about how I'm just a simp because I want you to feel sympathetic. I just, you know, get out your fucking small violin and just keep playing it by yourself because that's the problem. And you know what? To me, I'm a man of receipts in this community. It's like, okay, like, what have you really done here? Like, you know?
Yeah.
Most people that say they're empaths are the best person. They've got the book, they don't read. Right? It's like, let me take a picture with all my spiritual books, but I don't read them. That would be a great meme. Just, I don't read them. Or I've got all these tarot decks, but I don't use them. You know?
Yeah.
I don't really get out there and do the work. So when people say, well, light worker is such a bad term because it's work, or you're working, you have a job, and you're not in control. And I've always been like, okay, you can look at it that way, or you could feel like that you have a dedication to do the work that's divine.
Who says work is bad?
I know. And that's exactly right. And then I was also going to say is that light workers are light leaders. They lead with light. And they lead others to find the work within themselves to do, to find the leader within themselves. And any other term you're trying to use in spirituality, especially when you're getting into, even like, I love the star seed thing, but it's like, okay, you're a seed. Have you bloomed? Because I already did when I was at Conscious Life Expo, I haven't put it up yet, but my whole lecture was all about, even the Mayan showed, those stars seeded fucking thousands upon thousands upon thousands of years ago. We're the seed already bloomed that is going out to the new earth. Like, like I'm a star seed, but I haven't bloomed. I just like when I hear that and I look at somebody who's like, I'm a star seed, I look at them like they're a pot and a plant and I haven't seen them sprout.
It's a good way to put it.
You know, like, and the fact that people are afraid to say psychic, like, you know, it's like, even as a tarot reader, we're psychics. We pick up on shit. We already know because we know before the card draws. I already knew that a card was going to draw. That's psychic work. It's like, don't say that fucking word. That's a great word too that people don't use. I'm afraid to say, like, I'm a psychic. I'm intuitive. It's like, okay, yeah, I was pretty intuitive that, you know, when I felt like I needed to take a shit, I needed to take a shit.
Hey, I'll say one more thing too. Just one more thing on the whole empath-narcissist thing. If you're a real empath, a real one, you ain't gonna let that narcissist get anywhere near you.
Right.
That's all I'm saying on that.
Well, because if you were to feel somebody and if you were to feel them as a narcissist, why would you then accept them as, well, I could see their point of view though. But see, that's what I do is I try to get in there to feel them. And then I try to bring my energy that's going to change them. It's like, again, you can't change somebody.
Yeah.
And the other thing is empathetic is part one, not even one of 10, one of a number of ways you are a true spiritual gangster, divine light code working person. It's one of your many assets is to be empathetic, not the one thing to identify as.
Yeah.
That's like strangling yourself. Like, I just am only empathetic. That's all I am. That's the word. Like, the terminology is just insane. I think this card, I love this card more than I ever have. You know?
Yeah. And I mean, honestly, if you really think about it, being empathetic, we're all connected anyway. Even the most spiritually dead asleep people on the planet are still energetically connected to the whole collective. It's just that they're so brainwashed that it's been blocked out. So, like, when somebody's a real true empath, you know, usually they're not shielding very well. But we're all connected anyway. So here's the example I like to give. Imagine you have a bunch of birds, 100 birds that you raised in a cage. And you brainwash these birds into believing that they're supposed to trim their feathers, you know, or else they'll be unkept and untidy. You got to trim those wing feathers, trim your wings. You know, you don't want to have all those messy, nasty looking feathers all over your wings. Trim them, cut them off. And then there's this one bird that's like, that just doesn't sound right. That doesn't feel right. I'm not trimming this shit. These fucking feathers on my wings are badass. It feels right. It feels natural. And then all the other birds are pointing and laughing, calling him crazy. Oh, you're crazy. There's something wrong with you. What is wrong with him? He's got all those feathers all over his wings. And one day he says, no, you know what? Fuck this. Boom, and he takes off flying. Oh my God, he's so gifted. Gifted. These things that we have, empathy and psychic abilities and whatnot, they're not gifts. They're just things that you're remembering how to use.
Right.
We all have them. We're all born with it. But it depends on how brainwashed and sucked into that 3D matrix you get to where you block it all out and you believe that your wing feathers look stupid, so you're supposed to cut them off. See what I'm saying? Like,
I know, and I feel what you're saying, because that's the whole thing is being, if you're going to get to where you're going to go, you don't hear people who successfully in their spiritual path make it to their divine work and continue by the narcissist they dealt with.
mm-hmm.
The only people you hear them continually saying that are the people who are still stuck on it.
Yeah, they need to heal.
Right? And the healing process is through the work that you're doing, and never, I don't look back at all the shit and people that I don't even call them shitty people or whatever. I'm just like, well, that happened. I learned whatever. I'm not going to like fall on that situation to fucking lose what this is gaining in my life of the experience I got and moving on to where it's not, I don't feel like some cord that got cut off. It's just gratitude for the lesson that I was learned from that to not go in this direction. It's just like crazy when people are just like, when they're so stuck on what somebody else has done, man, you can't get anywhere when you're still fucking looking at that. Like, you know, like, oh my God, that's the problem. It's just everybody's like, oh, and I had this problem with this situation. And everybody's like, yeah, but look at you. And they'll try and find something. And I'm telling you, everybody out there, Rich says the same thing. Don't let anybody try to nitpick something about you, because they'll find anything about you. It'll be your hair. It'll be the fucking clothes you wear. It'll be the city you live in. It'll be something to fucking try and get you to do exactly what they're doing about the other person that was in their life that they feel took them down. Anybody, and I was going to say it, and I don't, you know, Venus is opposed Pluto, and I'm a fucking Leo, 0 degrees. So I'm going to say it. You're a loser if you continue to just fucking you're just, I'm not gonna lie, I've always looked at people who just sit there and complain about that and they can't move forward as losers. Like, really, you can't keep going?
Yeah.
You're gonna let a person, because you allowed to keep having that. If a narcissist is around in my life, I just go, well, I'm not gonna deal with that person. Move on. Not hard to do. It's not hard to do at all. I mean, I even in the military, I got kicked out. There were some fucking fucked up people in there. And I'm like, I'm not going to deal with this shit. And people were like, I can't believe you went to jail and you got kicked out. And I'm like, yeah. And I fucking look where I'm at right now. Do you think I fucking, all the shit that's happened, do you think I fucking go, oh my God, the shit I've had to go through and that I just keep holding on to, all that shit is a fucking fuel that just as you've it's transmutation.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah. That's what I was going to say. And actually, that's the point that I was going to make next. Like, one thing I tell a lot of my clients who dealt with a real narcissist, a real one, you know, because not many people actually deal with a real narcissist. But for the people who have actually dealt with a real narcissist, believe it or not, that's an opportunity.
Yeah.
Because if you actually go through with the healing process, which most people don't, but if you do, that has the potential to make you do quantum leaps in evolution. You'll come out of that a more evolved version of yourself. That'll awaken a beast in you that you never even knew existed. You'll be looking back on it, thankful that it happened. Like that actually, in a way, I've dealt with a narcissist before. One. Because, see, at one point, I actually set out to debunk the whole narcissist thing, you know, because, you know, everybody uses that word all the time. And I went and I was doing research and I was like, well, yeah, I could take some of these little qualities and slap them on every person I've ever met. But I've never met one person that fits this whole description. And then I attracted a real one into my life. And it was a bitch. It was a mess. The sickest human being I've ever met in my life. But after that, the shit that I learned from that, and the way I was able to evolve and grow from that, like, I wouldn't go back and change that experience for anything in the world.
Right.
Like, I wouldn't be able to be the person that I am today, you know, in my marriage. Like, I'm very happily married to my life partner. I wouldn't be able to play the part that I'm playing right now if I hadn't gone through that. I wouldn't be the person that I am, you know?
No, because if you were with a true narcissist, you wouldn't even be able to do what you want to do. Like, literally. Like, you wouldn't even be able to do it.
Yeah.
Or they're going to be taking over your life and doing things without asking and crossing boundaries and not having empathy and not even knowing it. Like they'll like literally go into your life. This is what my therapist told me many times, because my therapist has even said like to find a real narcissist is very hard.
Yeah.
And he's fucking in his 70s and been doing it for 50 years. And he's like, they're the rarest thing you could see. He's like, bipolar, that's what's going on in a lot of situations with people. Narcissism, a real narcissist.
Yeah.
And he goes, I'm more scared of fucking bipolar people.
Yeah.
You know, because the narcissist is only going to be there for a minute. They're not going to be in your life.
Yeah.
They're only going to be in there when they need you for something. Most narcissists are fucking gone out like to the next situation or whatever.
Yeah.
But the other funny thing is if you see on every situation, you have to drop people in your life to get to where you need to go. And it's not a negative thing. It's the people who you know aren't really that supportive of you. So like people will be like, oh, I can't believe they'll see somebody be like, but see how many people they've had to go through? It's like, what do you mean? No, it's just that person kept evolving. Do you think Elon Musk is worried about how many employees that he had to do at Tesla or PayPal or whatever, or Twitter or whatever? No. If you're not on the mission or the team, no. I'm lucky that I've had a very more than I can count on two fingers of people that supported me. They might not have gone on the journey with me, but they loved me still and they supported me whatever I did, and I stayed friends with them. Those are the people that people don't see. But when you deal with this line of work and people just like get on camera and they don't want to do it, I don't want to do this. I don't have any ideas. I don't know what to say. Well, fuck. And then like, I mean, what do you think's gonna happen?
It's work.
That's like exactly people. You see it at work. You see the person who's coming in and intentionally destroying the situation. And then putting it on everybody else. Like, you could see them, they come in, I don't want to be here, fucking this. And then they don't show up. And then they just start talking about it. And then they're on the weekends getting blasted and not telling people what they're doing. And then they fucking blame it all on the owner or the boss or whoever it might be at their job. It's like people self-destruct themselves. Like, you know what I mean? I'm sorry to say, there's not just a bunch of people walking around that are just fucking blowing everybody's life up away. Fuck you, they wouldn't be successful.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the biggest, like, I mean, you see it everywhere you turn. Like almost every person you meet who's not where they want to be in life, they have somebody to point at.
I know.
Somebody else's fault. It's my boss's fault. I was born into poverty. I was beat when I was a kid. It was my ex-wife's fault, my ex-husband's fault. It was always somebody else's fault because they don't know how to go through this.
I know.
They know how to go through it. Their perception is off. They don't understand that this is the goal. This is the goal. Like with fitness, my goal is not to get ripped and shredded. My goal is to be able to continue doing this every day. My goal is to love the journey, like with this work that we do here. Yeah, it's fucking draining work sometimes, but I have fun doing it. I love sitting down and shooting videos and making shorts and editing them. It's fun. It's fun work. The process, not the outcome. People are so addicted to outcomes.
Well, it's like this card reminds me in a simple way, I think, for people to take it is go to Disneyland. What ride do you want to go on? Get there. Don't be excuse me. Just get there. When I go to Disneyland, it's just like, I'm just like a beeline right to where I'm going. I don't fucking, if somebody's in my way, I go, excuse me, and I move on, and I'm not like, oh, are you okay? The same thing at a club or at a fucking concert. You think, everybody's in the back. That's the funniest thing to me in life is people afraid of a concert. They're in the back. Oh my God, I'm at the concert, but I'm really not at the concert. I just went to take some Snapchats or some video, not to be part of it, not to get engaged. Or in spiritual shit too. People always are in the back. They feel uncomfortable. That's the hard thing is this is an uncomfortable card to me when you're not willing to take on whatever's in front of you. That's the most uncomfortable thing in the world. Like your dream could come right to you and you can watch it pass by because you were too afraid to just input something in the conversation, speak up a little bit, ask what's going on instead of the whole, I hate the whole thing. Like you were in the meeting, you didn't ask any questions, and then out of nowhere, now you're being like, I wasn't being seen. Like, what are you talking about? Like, you got invited to the fucking meeting. You could say whatever you want and you have nothing to say. And then you're now wanting to say something afterwards and only negative and not adding to the project or not adding to the thing. What the fuck are you doing? There's so much of that. Most people are too afraid to pick up the phone. Most people will not even walk up to somebody, they'll text them. Instead of just like, hey, this is the situation that's going on right now. Like, fucking... I don't know how it's going to change, bro. I don't know, but I have faith.
Yeah. So, people like me and you who are putting the message out there.
Yep. So
especially in the spiritual community. We need to do this. We need to get more people. And I think, personally, I would like to send a personal invite out to more men to join the spiritual community.
Yeah.
You know, and we really got to help shift people's perspective back into understanding what real work is, what it is that we really need to do. And that's another reason, too, why my next pay-per-view video on High Vibe is going to be the neuroscience behind manifestation, the actual neuroscience behind it. That's going to be the next one. And that's the reason. Because, see, it's so easy to dismiss something when you think, oh, that's just a philosophy. Oh, that's just an opinion. They haven't proven that. Yes, they have. Yeah. All this shit we're talking about is not just a philosophy. This is not Rich Lopp's opinion. This is not David's opinion. This shit can be, like, we can break this down and talk about it to a science.
I mean, even, I know this might sound very opposite, but it's the same, but from the opposite of doing good for your life is you can go on your iPhone, look into the safety and go into the FCC shit where it's like, yeah, we test these phones away from your face. Do not be on your ear because of the radiation. It's going to affect your brain. There's all the patents of television, phones that they know how to send light and transmissions to alter your brain waves, right? So it's not fake when you use it the right way and you understand what the fuck's going on, because they're using it against you every fucking day. So I think it's now become not just you when you're teaching it to help somebody in their own life, it's so that they can also see where it's being used in the negative way against them, because the dark forces are using the neurolinks and the neuroscience aspect against us every day around us 24/7. It's even showing in the patents that just came out. I just saw about the AirPods that go into people's heads about what the frequency does and what it's people are like, oh, it's the brain cancer. No. It's way different than that. It's about the programming of tapping into other frequencies and Wi-Fi signals and shit that send other signals behind other signals that you wouldn't notice when you're listening to your fucking shitty music. That fucking they're sending in something else too. That's deep shit.
Oh, it gets real deep, and the tentacles extend out to every little aspect of your life that you don't even realize, and that's the reason.
And you teach how to rewire people's brains to be, because you can really wire your brain and your soul, because if you do it in a way that connects both, that knows how to filter that shit out and not allow it in. Same way we were talking about empaths, so they don't have fucking, I don't know. They don't even know how
to shield.
Shield at all. I think that's better than protective, go wear an N95 mask, fucking walk around protecting you. They don't know how to shield.
Yeah.
And that's why we're going to do the Awakening Experience here, July, that weekend. I think it's like the 7th and 8th. It's right after July 4th, which is on Tuesday this year. Because we want to be bringing all those tools in person here. And this is my last go before we then get to come back after I'll have a baby. That could be part of it too, because we're going to be raising our baby in this world.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. And I'm excited for that. Plus, you're doing readings too. Yeah. So make sure you check out Rich's readings. They're at his website, Tarot with Rich.
Yep.
I got him. I was the one who kind of pushed him on. You need to do Zoom, bro. People want to know about their spiritual shit.
Yeah.
And everything, whatever's going on in their life.
Actually, I'm glad that you talked me into that, because I'm able to do a deeper dive, because whenever somebody would get a pre-recorded reading, they would give me,
You ask good questions for them to answer to and what questions they want.
Yeah, because whenever you come to me for a reading, my goal is not to just answer your questions. My goal is to give you tools that can help you make the right decisions and manifest your life experience. And sometimes with a pre-recorded reading, even if they gave me 3 paragraphs of a description of what they've been going through, there'd be one little question that I wish I could ask them this question.
Yeah, because things can change from the moment they write you the email to just 24 hours. Their whole life, something could have shifted.
Yeah.
That's why I like live readings, because it's like, boom, so much shit's happening in the matter of an hour now.
Yep.
That like you might get the reading because of something, but then boom, when you get on the phone with Rich, it's like, or on Zoom, it's like, fucking this just came up. Now I can ask this. That's the best part.
Yeah. And it's unlimited questions too.
Yeah.
Like with my pre-recorded, it was 3 questions, unlimited spreads.
Yeah.
You know, and now it's unlimited questions.
Yeah.
For an hour. You can ask me any questions, and I'm liking it.
And I think it opens you up because there's so many people for love, but there's other people who are on their spiritual journey and might have questions about so many other things besides just love, you know? It's just like...
Yeah, and to be
I'm not making money off this, by the way. I'm just promoting his, because I'm a Leo, you know, I'm the promoter, you know what I mean? And I just fucking love that he's doing this now, you know?
Yeah.
And you all know me, I fucking sell, I always tell you, get a reading from me fucking for the last 12 years every fucking day. It's nice to be able to support a friend and fucking tell everybody like you're missing out.
Yeah, I appreciate you, man. And it all comes down to light work too. That's what it all comes down to.
That's what it comes down. I mean, honestly, it's like, fuck. The shit that I don't say it enough publicly, but that reading I got from you shifted me, and it was right after my dad died and everything, and fucking that light switch that you helped turn on to me, it was the one little thing I needed that then the little things that came after piggybacked off that.
Really?
Yeah, it was a huge moment in my life. I was really just like, fuck.
Oh, damn. I didn't know that.
Yeah. It was an intense thing, and it all played out the way it was supposed to play out that you helped me see. It was fucking gnarly, actually. We thought that next time I see you, I'll play the video for you.
Oh,
it's
shit.
Crazy.
Oh, man. Yeah, that was a while back. I remember it was kind of long. It was like an hour long, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was, actually. I know, it was deep, dude. I was fucking, but like, I remember being like, man, I just want to be able to talk to him on Zoom about this shit. Fucking, you know? But...
Yeah.
And we'll put out the info this week. We're building the site for it. And Rich actually just has the Facebook for our show. And then we'll be making the website this week that's just for this show. So
yeah.
And we're going to be expanding this like Spotify and all the other stuff too, like in a cool way.
Yeah,
so
we're gonna push this far.
Yeah, this show on itself is just its own thing. But of course, High Vibe, we're doing awesome stuff. And then on his channel, he's doing all the stuff. And on my channel, I pretty much just do this now.
Yeah.
I'm really like people didn't see a full moon horoscope for me on YouTube just because I'm like, I've put so much into High Vibe. I'm just like, you know, people who really want to know what's going on, they can find it on High Vibe. For me, it's just like, I just am, the YouTube world has just been a beautiful thing, and I continue to bring something like this, but I'm just at a place to where it's like, I'm really looking for the people who are just really down for the work.
It's getting down to that point now where, you know, crunch time, all the collective out there, you know, it's like, look, it's coming down to crunch time. We got to, who's awakening and who's not.
Yep.
Like, there's no on the fence.
Yeah. YouTube is just, I mean, Rich and I are talking, it's been very sad, but we don't let it get us down, right? It's not like, YouTube's a narcissist. I can't believe once you hit 1 million views on a video, they take down your fucking algorithm. Which is true, but it doesn't stop us. You know what I mean? Like trust me. You want it, you get it. You get 1 million views, have fun with the throttle. Have
they
fun.
do it every time.
Have fun with the brakes.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like, we don't want. You're one of those. The AI has figured out what you are. Oh shit.
Yep. They'll bury you.
They'll bury you fast.
It's part of the job, though. I mean, I look at it like, you know, any negative thing that comes along with it. With whether or not it's the AI trying to bury you or some energy from the dark side trying to pull you down. It's just part of the job.
I mean, look where it's at right now, where it's like, whether it's Alex Jones or just anybody who's got info, you can't just find them. Even Plandemic 3 that just did its big premiere this weekend, it's with 2,500 people there. I typed it on YouTube, you can't find it.
Of course.
That's the YouTube I don't support. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
am I, you know, like I'm just, you know, everything right now is going to be so crazy that, whew.
Well, they can censor information, but they cannot stop the transmission of vibration.
That's true.
Like they tried. What do you think Stand 6 Feet Apart was all about?
I know.
Because they know there are light workers on this planet
Right.
who are radiating a frequency.
I know. And imagine if everybody was radiating together side by side, all carrying 10 wands going in the same direction.
Shit, we'd be on that new Earth right now.
I know. we would already be happening.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the incentive to tell people, you know, is like, this shit could have already happened.
Yeah.
All right, everyone. We'll see you on the next one. We'll also see you on High Vibe and see on Rich channel too for his stuff. Adios.
Adios.
Peace.
Later.